going to go to here, and we're going to go to the main code, and then we're going to open this and be like, what can I see? Nothing apparently. Well, hopefully something's coming through. Come on. Yep. Okay, cool. So, making snake today. Someone asked me to help them learn Bevy, and so last week we did a call where I spent like 6 hours teaching them stuff, and one of the game we're trying to make a basic snake game, but we're gonna because I'm teaching them Bevy, make a really advanced snake game, and I thought it'd be fun just to do a stream where I make an actual basic snake game. So that's gonna be fun. Where I'm just gonna basically implement the bare minimum features of Snake, moving around, collecting food, getting longer, and then I want to maybe go a little bit memey with it and like add multiplayer and add different snake skins and like see how extreme I can get. But we'll see how far we can get in like the 4 or 5 hours that I'm gonna spend on doing this. Okay, so we're just gonna start with making our new app. So probably should have app. There it goes. What the fuck? Okay, no, we need to include Bevy. That would probably help. I think the AI is getting very tripped up because it's doesn't know what it's doing yet. Use Bevy. Thank you. App. Whoop. App. New. Yep. Okay. So we're gonna add default plugins. Ooh. There. Then they join the call now. So this is the person I'm helping. They've just come to ask questions. And hello. And Discord is picking up my voice. Hello.
Hello, how you doing?
I am doing all right. I had an all right day, and I'm going to make Snake. So it's going to be fun. I went and looked on Itch and found some really cool assets that I think will be really funny to make like multiple different snakes that do different things. And annoyingly, this person apparently just never renames anything and just deletes the files when they're done. Like, so the snake starts 0, 1, 2, 15, 16, 17, 18, 27, 32, 33. It goes all the, it skips big chunks and it ends at 383. And most of the snakes, because they all appear to be in the same order, so it's like bend, straight, head, tail. But then you get down to the ones that are animated, like the one that's like a gear, and it's like each like 2 segments of gear turning. And they're like, those, they're in like head, and then a different head, and then the body. And it's like, nice. And it's not in the same order anymore. Like the heads are separated, like, because there was a very specific order that everything was in. So I'm gonna have to go individually number everything, which is gonna be a pain. But like, we'll do that later. That's for when we've got something rendering. But it's gonna be fun just to make Snake. Yeah. Admittedly, I'm skipping like back from the code we did. I've skipped back to just doing a complete default thing, mostly because I don't want to like be halfway through stuff set up on stream. Just like if people want to watch from the beginning. Anyway, how are you doing? How was your week?
It was pretty good. It was actually really good. I was preparing for a physics exam Sunday, but yeah, not too bad. Chill. Was able to do a few activities. Got out to eat for dinner. Overall, a good week.
That's always good. Did you end up watching any of my videos so that you like have a better understanding of things?
I did watch your. I was able to watch half of one of the videos, and I'm starting to recognize the pattern, like the pattern of how things kind of like the order of operations, how things go. Mm-hmm. It's just like when I'm personally stuck and I'm trying to translate the example to what I want to do is what is like the only gap that I have, right?
Yeah, so, I didn't see that.
Like I was able to see like the movement of the example that did for fixed physics.
Oh yeah, fixed time step. Yep.
Time, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was able to look at it and I was like, okay, I think I have an idea what's going on here. But I was like, how would I be able to, replicate it myself if I wanted to? And then the second thing was, I didn't get a chance for it to get it to work because I kind of restarted. Because I made like a really big spaghetti mess, and then I kind of like broke everything. Good thing I had like a original save.
I got like the git set up. You always just jump back in and look at the different commits.
Yeah, so I kind of went back to where we were, how we left off last session. I wanted to mess with like organizing the files out of curiosity, so I did move everything essentially we did for the snake to just a snake RS file. I just said snake RS and I put everything there. And so the main looks a little more empty. I think
Yeah, it's how I think a lot of people lay things out, is that basically main should just be constructing the app and then running it, and then everything else should be in its own sub-module. I don't like laying things out a certain way, like especially with when I'm trying to teach someone, because I lay things out very heavy on my memory, which means that like things aren't laid out like necessarily very well from the beginning, because I'm terrible at planning shit. So I do a lot of like all the snake stuff will be in the snake things because they're associated, but as soon as I start using something like multiple things are touching, it's like I'll move it one layer up so it goes back out of. But it means that like a lot of my thing is like I F12 around, because I'm like, I know that this thing is next to that thing because I put them together, but I don't know what folder they're in because nothing's like laid out well. It's all just, yeah, associations.
Yeah, so I essentially did that for the physics too. I just made a separate file. I was like, I know that I'm gonna probably mess with this a lot, so I put it all in one file just called physics.
I don't imagine Snake using physics. So I'm assuming it's like colliders and stuff more than physics.
Yeah, I just called it physics because it was like physics movement or physics based. Like
I can see what you're talking about. Like I just in my head I'm going, because you said you were learning physics, how do you put it in the fixed time step? And I was like, why would you need physics in Snake? Because like a lot of like collision checks and that, it doesn't matter where you put it because you're just checking when the snake moves. So it's like whenever you move the snake is when you would check. But yeah, like physics goes in the fixed time step, because someone explained it to me once and it was like really clear. But it's to do with acceleration, because acceleration is per second. If you change time steps, you get a different result. Like it's different doing 10 small time steps than one big time step, because each step of acceleration means the next step of movement is faster or further. So you actually get a different answer unless you actually integrate with the result, and you have to do like fancy math. So it's like you have to do extra work to do a dynamic time step. You can't just change it.
Yeah, so I think the only thing I managed to successfully do was I just essentially spawned a giant rectangle to just get a feel for like map size, I guess. So I think I just did like a 1000 gray square in the background.
Oh yeah, it's 1000 pixels, because that's what the only thing that's confusing about Bevy, but it's not really like it makes a lot of sense on the high level. Someone's talking chat. Yeah, the plan is to make a video that condenses how to make Snake. So like this is for fun, but also like I do actually want to do it like similar to how I did Pong, where I just want to do like a 2 or 3 episode segment where it's like this is making Snake. Yeah, you're good to go. Someone was talking in the chat. Yeah, I made move my microphone so I can see the chat because I've got new monitors set up.
I kind of like lost my train of thought there.
Yeah, sorry. I do that occasionally too.
Let me get some water real quick because I'm thirsty, and then I'll be right back.
Okay. Let's have mod visuals. Snake. Entity. Prelude and star. Okay. So you are rendering. Component and seg. And maybe I should call it snake segment. Snake segment. Alright, so segments, yeah, you can't use drive macro, use Bevy prelude. Alright, so the snake segment is going to mark the actual snake. Drive component. This is stuff that I've done previously when I was teaching Snake. That like I have a basic idea of like a really cool way of doing like dynamically adding the snake and assembling it as you add pieces. So you go so pointer, yeah, so it's import snake on add, and it's not commands, but that would be kind of cool. It's world preferred. Preferred world context CTX. I wonder if there's a better way of doing. I was gonna say like it's probably a smarter way of doing the snake segment, like using relationships just to show off relationships. But then I remembered that seems like a really bad idea because I don't understand relationships enough for one, but also it would be like that would make all the snake pieces individual entities, not like parented. Oh, you could parent them as well, but then that defeats like the relationship. What is it? Hook context, I think. This is an interesting way that they've done hooks, in my opinion, because like you can tell, outside of the deferred words, just regular stuff. But the reason it's called hook context is because it changes all the fucking time. So it's like they don't want this signature to change, so they're just going to change what's inside this struct. It's also why it's not in the prelude. It's like weird. Anyway, so what we need to do is we need to go like okay, if let parent equals world dot get child of CTX dot entity, like so. Okay, so we need to get access to the parent, and then we need to go I guess technically the snake is Bevy and Rust in general. I don't know. I'm assuming like, so you mean language server, like how VS Code's like doing the code annotation? I assume, and not like language servers in like if you wanted to host multiplayer language, it's like a server in another language. There's so many generic types. Yeah, but see the thing with generic types is it's is that they actually are concrete types. Like how to explain? Like in Rust specifically. Like, yeah, it's I guess technically not, because like each language server is written specifically for the language it is. So the Rust analyzer uses the Rust language server because it's designed to be able to interpret generics. But the generics actually are concrete types. I think I want to say like JavaScript and stuff. Well, no, not JavaScript, Java itself. The generics that are used in that aren't actually concrete. I think like your type is like I take a generic and then the generic is at runtime, whereas at Rust is like no, every generic compiles into a hard-coded type at runtime. So that there are ways to stop you having to write boilerplate is you just put the generic in and then Rust, the compiler will turn it all into solid types as if they had unique names. And weird stuff. You can do stuff like struct, you know, as, and like safe, and then the safe can just take in like a T. Like my and then you be like this, and you're like impl we need more structs, struct locked, not static, struct lock, lock. I can't fucking my brain. Lock. There we go. Lock.
When I was looking at examples at other people's code, I noticed that when they were like making like player or yeah, I guess like player components, they list like a lot of things attached to that component. What's the trade-off between doing like a snake and then having like snake truck, like just like I guess a snake struct with the segment attached to that struct or listed there as a data type?
That question's not passing away. I'm just going to answer the other person's question. Yeah, like I guess with without a language server, it probably would be quite hard to develop. But I think that's the same for most languages that use things. Like in theory, you could get away with a lot of not using generics because like a lot of the generics in something like Bevy aren't used like normal generics in Rust, like queries and that. They're not really used as generics as much as they are just put your type that you want here, rather than like actually having any kind of specific behavior to the generics. So you could oh yeah, definitely when you have too many generic types. So there's a thing you can do to try and mitigate it by like moving generic types into their own crate so that they don't get recompiled, like certain bits don't get recompiled, but generics do weird stuff where they have to be recompiled even if they're in a foreign crate, so you can't like pre-compile it like you can with a lot of other stuff. But so the idea is that you, like a lot of the stuff you could do without an editor, as much as you could write any language without an editor. But personally, I think any modern language is going to be held to write without an editor, because not only are they extremely picky about spelling, which I'm really bad at, and the IntelliSense fixes a lot of those issues. But like the thing is, like this specific example is where Rust, you'd need the thing, because I'm implementing specific behavior to when it's locked, and you would need to know that, and you can't then know that unlock is only callable on safe lock, because technically safe lock is its own type. But with Bevy and that, it's like a lot of the stuff you will see is like it's query, right? And then it's the type you want to query is here. Like you just type the type in. It's not generic like where you need to know specific sets of generics that only these will work. It's like as long as the type is correct, which for every language would always be the case. The difference is Rust won't compile if you fuck up. The Rust compiler will spit out an error and say, no, that's not allowed. Whereas something like C would compile and it would just take you months to track down where this bug's coming from because you fucking typed the wrong type in somewhere. So like, I wouldn't do it without it, but it's definitely possible. Like there's nothing specific about the generics that make Rust not able to be handwritten like that. So why would you suffer like that? Yeah. What was your question? Something about using trade-offs between using something and something. I missed the.
Oh yeah. So I was looking at people's code, and some people, when they're doing like I guess you could say like a player component, it had like health, whatever associated with that player.
Yeah. Okay.
So in my head, I was trying to think, okay, there's gonna be some type of game event when like a player levels up in the game we're making, X amount of levels. That's gonna gain a segment, right?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think. Okay, we added the segment kind of like manually just to like test it. But would it make sense?
I could have made it automatic. Like the segment itself, we were using it as a marker because we want to render the segment separately. If we were rendering the whole snake, we probably could just have like a vector of the data. But also that's every what I call anti-ECS, where it's like a lot of people complain about certain things in Bevy, and it's like, yeah, but it's because you're intentionally not using the ECS, or like you're just avoiding using it. So our thing is, it's like each segment is its own entity with all its extra stuff. So all the rendering related things, like the sprite that is that segment, goes onto that entity, and then we parent that entity to the snake as a whole, which we actually did as a resource. In this, I'm going to do it as its own entity because I want to do like multiplayer, which means we'll have more than one snake, so we can't use just a singular resource. We'd either have to have a vector of snakes, or each snake will be its own entity. But I think what you're talking about is the idea of like, when do you split it into its own component versus having lots of data in the same component. Like if you have a player, like a lot of people will have a player marker saying like this entity is the player, and then some people will be like, oh, this is the player, and there's their health, there's their damage. So the difference is like the player shouldn't contain that information, because enemies also have health, enemies also have damage. So that should be its own entity, like its own component, because you'll use it other places than the player. But things like input bindings and stuff like that might be specific to players. Like only the player will have these bindings, and every player will have different bindings, because if you want to have multiple players controlled by the same keyboard, they'll need different bindings. So that might be going into the same player component, because it's actually like whenever you have a player, that information is shared. But the idea is you want to split your components in like a usability thing. You don't want them too small, because that fucks with memory accessing and like just constructing multiple queries. It makes your types really hard to read. So you want it like all the data you always access together. Like if you're always like transforms, for example, you're always grabbing the transform, the rotation, the scale, and the translation. Like they're just like a single block of information, even though they're made up of multiple pieces of data. So that's one thing. But you don't always want its global position. So that's a separate component. So your local and your global transforms are separate, because you don't always want both. But you'll always want the translation, scale, and rotation together, because they are like a single block. Same with physics. Is like you may want the collider, but you may also want the different types of rigid bodies, and you may want the velocity, but at different times. So they get split apart rather than having a singular monolithic physics object that contains all that information.
Okay.
child dot get that's annoying. Child of parent. Is that how that works? No, wait, child of a unit type struct? It is. They changed that. I don't remember seeing that. Yeah, for whatever reason, Bevy decided that they were going to change how the parent struct works. They used to be called parent, and then they changed it to they called it child of, and it had a single field called parent, and now they've made it a new type where it's just wraps an entity. And it's just like they keep changing little small things that like really throw me off. I don't remember how to do this. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Parent. Cannot mutate. You mean good? But it's not even just that it's compile time errors versus runtime errors. It's the thing of like Rust just won't let you do certain things that are really hard to track down when you do fuck them up. Parents and children are for hierarchy. So if you want like to be able to move one entity and have a whole bunch of entities move with it, you'd make them children of it. Like how if you put a sword in your knight's hand, you'd want to parent the sword to his hand, and then the hand is parented to the arm, and arm parented to the body, so that when you move the body, everything moves with it. Specifically here, I'm trying to work out what the parent is. So when we attach a segment to a snake, it'll work out what the parent is and insert itself into the parent list, into its segments, so that the parent knows the order that the segments are in, so that like you can reorder the snake. I guess I'm not sure how like that's going to work, but I don't want to just use the children's ordering, even though that would work fine in most cases, in the sense that the head's always the first one, the tail's always the last one. But it's more to do with the fact that if I don't have a specific segment ordering and then I add something that's not a segment to the ordering, it'll fuck up the snake and it might lose tip of its tail because it's got a health bar or something childed to it, and it's the last thing on the list. So the segments are going to be kept in their own list. In theory, you could do it with a proper relationship, move each segment around by itself, but that's a little bit too complicated for this stream. I'm trying to do it quick rather than optimal. Snake's not a component. Oh, I called it a resource. No, it's a component. Component. So we have a snake, and then we get the snake, and then do something with snake. Yeah. Snake. Snake dot. We need you to be deref. Not clone. Deref. Deref mute. So, snake dot push, and then context dot entity. Okay, so snake can push the snake. Okay, I can collapse that if statement. I don't want to collapse that if statement. Yeah, I fucking just get rid of the goddamn yellow lines. Oh, that's not correct. It's and then we have one too many of these. Okay, I don't know how to turn this Rust analyzer off, and it's a bit clippy, just yells at me for shit all the time and just yellow lines everything. It's not that important though. So we say, hey, get the parent, and then we need an else statement, which is else one added snake segment is not a child of a snake entity. Okay, cool. Added snake segment. Okay, cool. I don't know what's supposed to do after that. Maybe just remove itself. It could do that. All right, so here's a snake segment, and we insert a snake segment. So we can also go. We need to go to parent. Okay, while we're in snake here, we're going to say first off, let super equal free equals snake dot get No, it's not get, it's last. Last. There we do that. Let if let some last world get, oh, it's annoying because I can't, so we did get last got cloned. Annoyingly, because we own snake mutably, we would have to let pre, I think this is like an annoying borrow checker thing because I know I'm not touching the same entity twice, but like it doesn't care. So we have to get access to you, and then we have to come down here and we have to say free like that, and then we have the world.get free. Yeah, but that's not necessarily like true, because it's slow, one, because I'm trying to do something more advanced than just adding a snake. Because I could have just done this. I could have done this. Like that's all I needed. Like it just holds entity. I'm trying to make this dynamically update its position based on where I put the snake, because I can't just like I'm doing more than just making a snake class. I'm adding logic to the snake class so that whenever you add a segment to the snake, it automatically works out where that snake's position, where that new segment should be positioned in the world, and will automatically update its position. Like I'm doing more than just making the class, because yeah, I could have just declared it and been done with it, but like I'm actually adding logic, and it doesn't matter if it's object oriented or data driven. I still need to write the logic, and the slow part here is that I'm not entirely sure what I'm doing because I'm trying to be clever, and being clever is always slow. If let's some pre, and then we'll get pre. Yeah. If let some equals pre ampersand let and it's let okay, isn't it? Also, wait, get, oh, okay, is weird. Some pause and then equals world dot get I guess it's pre like that, and then we go here. Because I'm also writing it with like lots of catches where it'll actually handle it not working. If I really wanted to just like go quick, I could just be unwrapping everything, because unwrapping everything would literally just crash instead. But I'm like, no, I want it to print an error instead. Like I'm doing the terrible thing of I'm writing production code instead of prototyping to get it working, which is not necessarily the best idea. Because it's, again, it's slow. Damn it. Clone that, and then we need to go. Yeah, the hard thing I'm running into here is all the borrow checker stuff of. Good for dense population. The thing I'm running into here also is I'm grabbing data, and I don't like cloning data all the time, even though in this case it's trivial data and I probably should just be cloning it. But like I'm doing things where like I have to copy the data, and I have to copy it at a specific point so that I can access the world again, because in theory like I needed to access the parent mutably, but I could just not. I could have just collect all the information, then access the parent mutably. But instead, I'm like, if I do it in a very specific order, which is, again, being clever because I'm being efficient rather than just getting it done, is like, it's doing more complicated stuff and inserting a bunch of stuff. Insert. Actually, it should. We can just make sure it does. We say, you require transform. So do that, and then instead of inserting, we can say if let some segment transform, get mute word transform, segment equals position dot translation. Sure. It's also telling me that I can fucking indent this down. Okay. And like that. Weird. Let's do that and that and that. So it's a very weird, weirdly structured system. But basically the idea is whenever we insert a segment, when we add a segment component, we grab the parent of the component of the entity we just added. We grab its snake component of the parent. We insert, we grab the last segment from that snake. We then push the self onto that snake so that we're the last segment. We then grab that last segment if it existed. We get the transform from it. We then move ourselves to that same position. So the idea being, yeah, I need some other stuff to render the right snake as well. But so we're gonna go like something like FN spawn snake. Yeah, we'll just call it a new snake. Commands, and then we're gonna spawn a snake. Apparently, we made that private. Okay. So you need to be public. You also need to derive default, so that I can just call you default. Go here, we snake, and we say, hey, default. Thank you. Yeah, default transform, default translate. Okay, so we should say that snake requires these things. Require transform. That's the only thing you really require. Snake. Okay. So you transform, and you do this, you do that. Okay. So then we're gonna, render this new snake, and then we're also gonna say like commands dot spawn with children dot with child. And that child is going to be a snake rendering. Pub use rendering snake segment. And I'm going to go here and make it public too. Okay, so we go here and we say snake segment. I'm just going to stick a random snake segment in. Immediately, we probably need to do something to make the snake segment actually render something. And we go here and we say app.add systems startup. I'm going to say spawn new snake. Spawn new snake, and then commands. Alright, so that's just going to spawn our snake in. It's going to give the snake the default position, and then we do. Okay, so to go back to our rendering, we do something to actually render the snake. So I guess we need to go maybe an enum. We're gonna go like enum snake pipe like this, and then let's go to our assets, go to battle snakes, and look what the first snake is, and it's just gonna not arenas. Snake 00 is just like a white snake. Okay. Okay. White spotted. Okay, so that's a snake type, and then we need to also derive you as a clone copy. Sure, it's also a component, and public. So we then can go to snake here, and we say that snake requires a rendering. Actually, we'll include it here. So here, snake segment and snake type. This. Snake. Right. It doesn't implement default. Okay, so we need to go default on you. Okay, so default, and default like that. Okay, so we have white spotted, and then we're going to okay, so we're going to import snake type like this. I'm going to say pub segment indexes fits in self, and I mean yes but no. it's going to return a static yeah, U size, I guess. Array vector, and then so you're going to return annoyingly 0, 1, 2, and 15. I think that's all. Yes. So it also should be in the order of probably 2, 1, 0, 15. So 2, 1, 0, 15. You're also referencing. Segment indices. Okay, right. 2, 1, 0, 15. Okay, so I guess technically you should also, when you grab the parent, alright, so we're gonna get, well, we're gonna keep that segment. We're just going to say if like this, the if back on you because I need to do specific stuff. If there's a parent, I need to access it multiple times. Okay, so this is if there's a snake parent, and then if let some type snake type equals world.get parent. Why are you getting transformed? Okay, AI, stop. Okay, to get the snake type, and then we need to say, I think I can just say like snake type here and go, hey, because this means also if I don't find a snake type, like fine. Let me say, sure, do that. Let's override ourselves. Except you're going to say can't borrow world mutably because it's already borrowed. So let's say fine. Okay, okay. I copied. Okay, copied is better. Copied. I think. I actually don't know. I think copied is faster, but I'm not sure. So we have a snake type and a snake type, and you can't reject it yet. You reference snake type. You're complaining. Okay, fine. I wish I could turn that off because this is like a really bad way of doing this in terms of it just looks ugly, and I'm almost certainly going to change something at some point that's going to make it change everything again. Anyway, right. So we're going to assign the snake type and the snake type and the snake instance. Right. Now, snake type here is probably going to need some kind of on add, maybe. No, it'll need a on change. So we're going to do something like fn. We should probably add a snake plugin too. So we're going to go up a stage and we're going to say plugin. Plugin it. Okay. Snake. Plugin. Right. So this plugin is going to be in charge of doing the snake rendering, like all the snake related stuff, and then we're going to go to the top of rendering. We're going to say plugin in it, and we're going to say this is a snake render plugin. Okay, cool. And then we're going to say app dot add plugin app dot add plugin. No, not plugin. System. Alright, so there's going to be a, I guess, pre-update because I want this to kind of pass through. For a single entity. I guess. I'm not entirely sure though, because isn't like the thing with that is that for a single entity would imply that you have only a single type of object in your entire game, because that's the thing, is that entities are just as efficient in that, like, I don't need to do any inheritance or anything to have like one entity represent multiple things. They just changed it in 0.15 that the UI transform and the normal 2D transform are no longer the same transform, which means in theory you could actually have a 2D object in the world that is also represented by a UI object that are the same entity. There's no need to like have a copy that represents like a unit in the world. I'm trying to think like a something. What's the Age of Empires? So something like Age of Empires, where you're like each unit like a little bar. Maybe it's like StarCraft, a better example, where each like unit that you have deployed has its own little icon, and then the actual 3D model in it. So you could actually make them the same entity now, because technically where the UI is placed is independent of where the 3D geometry of the same entity is placed. So you could actually make a UI where instead of having to have a separate entity that represents the UI and a separate, like for the world, and somehow a system that passes information between them, like what unit they're pointing at. Like they can just be the same entity and just render in different places. So this is going to be update snake type, and this will then also be update snake visual texture, like that. And then we want to chain these so that we update the type before we update the texture. Dot right. So then we want to say something like update snake type. So we need to query no. So snake. This is going to query for the snake type. Changed snake type. And with super snake, right? It's probably, actually we probably want to access the snake too, so that should be fine. Like it's snake. But snake. Makes it we need to. It's like it's input this. Oh, but yeah, so super snake. Now, so what I'm going to do is, okay, so whenever the snake changes, and then we're going to go, I guess, segments. Segments. We don't need this immediately, thank you. Alright, so say snake segments with the snake. So we're going to say for snake type in snake, for segment entity and snake.iter. If let okay snake type, yeah, I guess, yeah, okay, that's cool. The AI is somewhat competent. That's nice to know. That's what I want to do. It's for people that are trying to follow along. What I am doing is I'm going grab me the snake type and the snake, like the list of segments, whenever the snake type changes on that particular snake. Then which one? Populated? So populated just means this system will only run if something's actually changed. Then we go to segment, and we're just grabbing access to all the segments, just anything with a snake segment. I think we need to also specify without snake, because if we don't say without snake, then this snake segment and this snake segment conflict as mutable and immutable access. But because we've said this needs snake and this needs not have snake, the segments don't overlap. So then we iterate through all the snakes with its segment, then we iterate through all the segment pieces, and then we like access that segment and update its type. Then we're going to say fn update snake texture. That seems somewhat correct. Segment populated snake type texture atlas sprite. No, it's just, I think this is a texture sprite. It's sprite. Actually, might even be sprite. Texture atlas. I know you do have a handle on image. Okay. So changed snake type. Sure. And then we say for snake type sprite, need to be immutable. Interesting that it picked up on that one of it mutably, but didn't actually make it mutable. I guess, yeah, and segment indices. Interesting. I like the idea of the animated snake being two separate things, but that seems like a over the top. I kind of need some kind of way of loading the assets separately, so maybe we need to make like an actual asset type. We'll do that down here. We'll say like this stuff. It's a derived resource. So technically, this we're going to change this, and this is going to be changed to I guess 0, 1, 2, and 3, like that. Just I guess it's not the best way of doing it. But we're going to say struct, and it's going to be snake. Snake texture handles. Yep. Okay. No, it's just images. Like that. So struct snake handles. Then we're going to import from world. Yep. Resource asset server. Okay, so then we're gonna load. Can I say you need to be a vector, by the way, vec, because we need like multiple of them. Wait, no, you're a hash map of vector hash map of snake type, and they're not handled images. We need I guess technically you'd be a let's make an array of handled images for now, but the idea is that the animated snakes will change this out for like a type later. Yeah, so it's not so much that they can be in two places as once. So pre 0.7, we'll go back to main because it's easier. When you did UI, you would go like commands dot spawn spawn, and you'd be something like so you like node. So the node is your like your UI element as opposed to like a sprite, which is your 2D element. And so the node is positioned using things like left and right and top and bottom, because it's like, you know, it's like web layout. But it would use a normal transform, so default. So it would just, like, when Bevy ran its node calculations, it would update the transform, the translation, rotation, scale, and put the UI in the correct spot. But now, instead, if we go into node, I'm assuming it's going to have it as a required component. It's called UI transform. Now they have a UI transform, and the UI transform has the same thing, except it's now been dropped to 2-dimensional instead of 3-dimensional, which is kind of cool. It also uses vowels instead of vec3s, which vowels are like, let's say, like top, you can say like 10% or 10 pixels. And so the idea is that instead of like overriding the 2D position, you're storing an actual specific why is it rot 2? I thought there was an... Oh, it's cosine. Cool. So you're actually storing like the UI specific position inside of the UI transform, which in theory, I haven't actually tested to see if it works. In theory, it means that the UI representation of an entity can actually be separate to its 2-dimensional representation. So you could actually have it in two places. So one where it's actually like, this is the sprite that's moving around, and then this is the UI element that is that sprite, and they're like two different places because they actually use two different translation things. And because they're the same entity, they don't share data somehow, they just are the same data. Like, they're not, you could just write could have written a system that shuttled data back and forth, like keeping them in sync, but it's like, now it's like, no, they're just the same entity. So when it goes and looks up the handle, it's the same handle because it's the same entity. I want to say something like vec. Maybe. Oh, what's that? No, it's not a vector anymore. It's just a hash map default. Hash map default. I'm going to leave it empty because I think the plan here. So maybe not. Maybe. Let's do it texture handles like that. We should probably F2 that so that it works. We're going to turn this into an actual struct instead of a new type like this. And so we're going to say loaded. And then we're going to go loading vec. Vec. I think this is an untyped. I think, not entirely sure. Something like that. Don't know why that's gone blue. That's a bit strange. What did I type wrong? Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. I don't think it likes this. So texture handle, except you want to write an image handle, and then it's assets load folder. This oh, it's a handle to loading folder. Okay, maybe loaded folder. To be honest, it's been a while since I've done blanket like imports like this. So we're gonna say it's battlesnake slash snake slash 32x 32px underscore split Yep, okay. So load that folder, please. Why are you calling unwrap? I don't think you can fail. Okay, so you'll load the folder, and then apparently you don't do that. You just take in a handle. Handle to loaded folder, which is apparently just like its own thing. Strange. And then it's like texture handles untyped. Okay, no, just pass it in, please. Okay, so that'll load the loading stuff. That'll actually like initiate loading everything, and then we can go down here and we're like FN. I guess it's gonna be like shuffle loaded. Finished. To terrible naming scheme, but anyway, we're gonna go in here. We're gonna say mute textures. Whereas mute slash fantasy textures, and we also need that like asset server, I believe. Asset server. Where's asset server? And apparently folder. Because if we have it, then it's gonna be like res assets loaded folder. Weird. Yeah, see, the issue with it is it was actually something I was thinking about when I was talking to someone about the specifics of like how Bevy lays certain things out. Is Unity is considered a true, like a full 3D engine, which means that even the 2D elements are done in 3D. Bevy does the same, where even though you're in 2D, you still have a third dimension. The Z-axis still exists on all your transforms, and same with the rotation. It's like in 2D, you only need one value to represent rotation, because you can only spin around the Z-axis. You can't really rotate through the other axes. So they're true 3D engines that can render in 2D, but they're actually 3D. But something like Godot actually has two engines. One is 3D and one is 2D, whereas in like if you're rendering 2D stuff, there is no Z dimension. It uses layers instead, which it becomes an integer instead of a float, so that you don't get Z fighting and stuff like that, because it doesn't have that rounding issue. So it's like there is just layers. Bevy built that on top, but the idea of the UI stuff is that it's the idea of Bevy moving more in the direction of we have a 3D engine and a 2D engine are two separate things. Instead, it's we've got a 2D 3D engine and a UI engine are two separate things. So it's like originally it was Bevy reusing stuff because it made intuitive sense, except you couldn't touch the transform, because if you touch the transform, Bevy would immediately overwrite it. So you couldn't use the transform if it was attached to UI, because it would just be overwritten all the time. But yeah, it was about reusing architecture because it was there. Like you didn't have to worry about propagation, all that kind of stuff. It would all do it itself because it was all from the 2D 3D world. But then it was like, well, it started causing issues. So now it's all split. Now, what is your problem? Res me. Okay. A loaded folder containing handles for all assets stored in a given. Okay, so if asset server dot is underscore loaded. Textures actually loading return. I think I might do that with a run condition. Not loaded. So the trait bound handle loaded folder into untyped untyped? No. The ID. Okay, weird. So if it's not loaded, we probably need to replace this with an option. Because that way once it's loaded I can say like don't stop. Okay, so we're gonna load that one and then we say ID. So yeah, let's make it a run condition. All right. Events to we probably wrap it inside the snake textures for thinking about like a layout thing. So we're gonna like simple impulse snake texture handles. I'm gonna say like fn should load self and a bool, and wait, it doesn't take in self, it takes in, because this is a run condition, means it is taken absolute types, so we need to be like textures which is a res, I guess you can call that, and then asset server, res asset server. So we're gonna say if let some loading no, texture, and then return is loaded. Loading. Okay. I think that should work. And then we come down here and we say this is only going to run if it's actually loaded, which means that we're going to say something like not only if it's loaded, if it is and it's loaded. We should also maybe just move this inside here again because it's like about like keeping it all together and neat. Anyway, let's actually shovel the stuff out. So we're going to do something like if let I think some or okay folder equals call you folders dot get let loading take get loading ID. Okay, I'm gonna say here, and we're gonna also else I think this is just gonna panic for now, but the fun thing of like if it's getting to here and it's not working, I don't want to like continue being like why is it not rendering anything, because it's like it did something else. Anyway, so we're gonna say like folder dot okay, so the folder just has handles. Now my concern is does the folder immediately exist? All handles of the assets stored in this folder. Okay. My concern here is that our loaded folder may not actually fancy the handles of all assets stored in the folder. The loaded folder contains handles of all assets stored in the given asset path. This is I suspect that this asset's going to come into existence immediately, and then well, we can just make the change of like it has to have loaded all the dependencies as well. That should be fairly easy somewhere. Where did I have that? Here. Is loaded. Do check dependencies. Is loaded. Contains returns true if the asset has been loaded. Is loaded with dependencies. Okay. Can you? Cool. Okay. So we're gonna say like folder dot handles. In theory, we actually wouldn't need to do that. Actually, yeah, there's actually literally no reason. Because in theory, if it loads all the handles immediately, they're still going to be handles. They're still valid handles. Then we're going to say, yeah, this is where the hard part comes from. For snake in, okay, so we're going to get like strum so that we can make that an iterator and fix it in the future. So like strum equals and then we also want strum macros, which I don't know why they're separate things when I like legitimately never use something without using both. I guess it's because technically a create only needs to implement strum macros, whereas a consumer needs, oh, where'd it go? Why did you remove my strum? Strum. Okay, weird that it keeps just eating that. Strange. Can you not? Wow, it does need partial equals a hash. Strum macros. It's enum iter like that, and then we're gonna come down here. We're gonna say for this, we're gonna say for in snake type dot iter like that. And then we have to import this so that we actually have, I guess, into enum iter. Okay, and then we say indices, and we say segment of indices, and then we say let mute handle. Okay, so let's change this to taking in an exact sized array for now. New size 5, 4, because again, each snake at the moment will be 4 segments, but the animated ones will actually need more. So indices and then snake and then, segment indices like that. There's going to have 4 indices, and we're going to say handles are default no. So I think what we do is we say something like map and then ID. Then we say it's something like folder. Wait, why are we? Because we're trying to put them in order, aren't we? Okay. Indices, snake, segment indices, map, folder, handles. Get. No, cloned. Okay, folder, dot handle, dot get. ID. Cloned. Okay. I suspect we could probably just do this, but that seems like a bad idea. Click on the iterator. Wait, here. Click on the iterator. Untyped handles not an iterator. What do you mean? Okay. Dot typed. I think is that how that works? Yeah. Okay. Cool. I don't know what you're talking about. Apparently, no. Just can we just say type? Panic if it's not. Okay. And then we say, hey, insert indices. Okay. Cannot move out. Yes, I did try and say like clone. Okay. I called it cloned. Okay, right. Yeah. Then we don't access the server anymore because we're just like copying that stuff around, and then got here and we say, hey, yeah, no, that's what being Australian does, is means that everyone goes, oh, Australian. That reminds me of stuff that's Australian. At least I don't have like the really bad East Coast accent. It's like the stereotypical like Australian accent. Whereas I'm from the West, where our accent's a lot more of a, we just watched American television, so we all sound like Americans, or we all sound British because our parents are British, like that. As opposed to, like over East, where they've got actually like a defined accent that I'm like, oh, they sound Australian. Like I met someone from over East once, like they came to my school, many years ago now, and I was like, god damn, you actually like sound Australian. Like look, when an Australian's going, man, you have an Australian accent, you know it's thick. I was like, they sounded like Crocodile Dundee, like Australian. I was like, fuck, it's Australian and a half. We need access to the different snake segments. Actually no, we don't. Why am I even updating this? Right. That's an interesting point. Why am I updating this, bro? You update your type. I can do that. Actually, all snake types. Not really the snake type that needs sprite though. The segment. Yeah, okay, that's how I got it. Cool. Snake type sprite. So we need to do like snake and go. Problem. You're sitting quietly on Discord. If you've got questions, you ask questions. I tend to just ramble.
I'm just trying to absorb as much information as I can. I'm just like locked in.
Yeah, it's fair enough. I ramble a lot while I'm streaming because it's that idea of like, and occasionally when I'm not in a good mood, like I'll sit in the stream and it'll be like me just coding for an hour in quiet. And I'm like, if someone comes in, it's just me typing. Like I'm not saying anything, and it's like I'm not aware if anyone's there. Like because nobody typing in chat. Like it's like I don't see people come and go, which means I don't think talk, and it's just quiet. So I'm like, I tend to end up rambling. So if you've got questions, you can ask questions like about something specifically I'm doing or any kind of anything like that. I feel like that person's been really, feeling really justified when they're like, oh, object oriented is so much faster. I'm like, you're doing so much other stuff. But yeah, like it does feel very slow because I haven't actually got anything on screen yet because I'm going through and I'm like implementing like half a dozen things all at once. So face direction.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a lot of like high level stuff that haven't been like introduced just yet. So I'm like, okay, interesting. So everything that looks different, I'm literally just typing a new tab, like what is that? What is that?
Yeah, I need like
And
a
I'm just trying
notebook.
to stay.
I was gonna say, like, if you watch like the first 4 or 5 episodes of my Bevy Basics, I tried to do them in like the order of you need to know this first, you need to know that second. So the first one's like, I think it was just like how to make a game, like the episode 0 that you saw. And then episode 1 was like what is the ECS, and then episode 2 was what is a system, and episode 3 is what is a component, and episode 4 what is an entity. And that one I did kind of funny because I was like, oh, ECS, entity component system. Let's go backwards in system component entity. Because I just thought it was funny. But yeah, so the idea is like those few videos like really introduce a lot of the topics. They're outdated in the sense that like their Bevy version is really wrong, but the concepts that they introduce, I think, are still valid. I found it really funny because I did a video on queries, and then like literally like 2 days later, the next version of Bevy came out and changed queries. I'm like, God damn it, they do it every time. And like half a dozen videos, it was like I released the video, and within a week something happened. Like Bevy released a new version. It was so much worse because now they're on like a 3-monthly schedule, so I kind of know when a new version of Bevy's at least around the corner, and you know that kind of thing. But like back then it was like I would have no idea when the next version of Bevy was coming. Would release a video and it would just the next version of Bevy would come and change something. It's like they would very rarely like ruin the video, but it would just change something. I'm like, God damn it. If I'd been like a couple of days later I could have just added the new information, but it's like, nope, YouTube won't let you go back and modify a video like that.
It's just like in this game of whack-a-mole. Whack-a-mole? Yeah, whack-a-mole.
Yeah, fun. It's one of those like I find it interesting when people complain about like how quickly Bevy changes, but it's like it means it's just like new shit's being added. I get annoyed when they change things that I feel like they didn't need to change, or they keep changing things and then changing them back, or changing them and then changing them again because they didn't like the way that they changed it. Like it used to be like delta time, and then they were like, oh, well, let's just make it it was delta seconds, and then like, let's make it delta secs because that's more in line with the standard library. I'm like, yeah, I know, but it just annoys the shit out of me because it's like now I gotta rename it a bunch of places because I use it a lot. And there was a while there where they would rename the component every other update, but it didn't change any of the behavior. They literally just renamed it. Like I used to go through the migration guide and be like, there's like half a dozen things on every single update. It was like Control F, type in the old name, type in the new name, and it just did it everywhere. Like that was it. Like that was the only change with the name. Like nothing actually internally changed. And sometimes it needs to be done, but other times it's like, oh, come on, like every update.
Yeah, when I was following your Pong.
The Pong, Pong.
It was like what was it called? It was like bundle camera, whatever 2D, and then now it's just like whatever 2D camera.
Oh yeah, because in I want to say it's like 15. No, I would have been the version like the Pong. Yeah, it's one of those things. Did the Pong video, and the next version they removed the bundles.
Yeah.
But bundles were a pain in the ass. Bundles used to be like you used to have to make a struct that contained like every component that your like thing needed. It was like a way of saying for the Bevy developers to be like, if you want a sprite, these are all the components you need. And then they introduced what's called required components, which is like up here where I'm typing in required. I am saying like require transform snake type, and sprite means that like for this component to function as it's intended, it needs these components, and Bevy will just insert the default value if you don't provide these components. Whereas with bundles, it was like you used to have issues as well, because I don't know how it picked which one to do, but every bundle would have a transform in it because just about everything needed a transform. So every bundle had a transform. And then and every bundle had a global transform because like your transforms need a global transform, and it just meant that like you had these really bloated bundles that like you had to type a lot of stuff. And I don't know if I ever had this issue, but I think people had issues where it's like if you set the transform in the wrong bundle of like the order at which you were, because bundles could be stacked together. I think you can insert multiple bundles, that's for sure. But it was like that which bundle got the precedent of being able to insert the transform meant that like sometimes you might overwrite the old transform with the zeroed transform because you just defaulted it. And yeah, so it wasn't the best approach.
It sounds like a easy way to mess things up.
I think I just realized that I don't actually need to propagate the snake type because I can just like use the parent snake to fetch the type. Okay. Also, it's in the wrong. It's supposed to be a pre-update. Yeah. To be honest, like doing the snake bit with you has probably made this much slower than it needs to be, because I'm going like, my brain is already at that level of we'd already implemented a bunch of stuff, so I keep going to do it and be like, oh, I've got to remember to add that thing. Like I just added the facing enum back in so that I could work out what each segment of snake is supposed to do. So you don't get a snake type, you get a facing. Facing direction. What did I call it? Huh? Yeah, I did call it facing direction. I need to import facing direction. Okay. Yeah, not a component. Facing direction. Yeah, drive a component on that there. Alright, so facing direction. It doesn't implement default, which is annoying. None. Think of it a none type, just so that I can have a, like, when a piece spawns in. What am I doing? My brain is like going to sleep. I'm very slowly dying. Fun. I got my medication today and my heart rate was 130 all day.
Oh dang! I hate like heart palpitations or anything with the heart rate, because I like to be physically active, and that should just like prevents me from doing it because I just feel.
But like my doctor's fucking worst. He gave me my Dexies, which I think have done damage to my heart, because I suspect I've got some kind of like congenital heart defect, because like my dad goes, oh no, everyone has those kind of heart pains. I'm like, I don't think so. And my brother also got caught up with the doctor, like, was doing a medical for his work, and they went, nah, something's not right. And they got another doctor, and they went, yeah, it's probably nothing. But I also got caught up with my medical for my work, and it was like, oh, you know, like, so I did the echo, and then the doctor went, yeah, there's something up with your heart, but young people's hearts just do weird things. So, you know, you'll grow out of it, I'm sure.
Yeah, it seems like such a weird way to dismiss that.
Well, see, my concern with it is they did an echo on it, and they're like, oh, you know, we find that all young people's hearts just tend to have like these weird beats to them, but older people's hearts don't. I'm like, that doesn't sound like your heart will get more stable as you get older. That sounds like young people are getting really damaged hearts, and we didn't have this technology. So we just assume that all the old people's hearts also did this when they were young, because we haven't had the technology long enough for someone to grow to an adulthood being like, you had this when you were young and it went away. But maybe it is just something that'll go away. Who knows? But the issue with it is, like, I tried to talk to my doctor, being like, hey, like, my heart rate's like abnormally high. It used to be 60. I started Dexies, now it's like 100 all the time. Even when I stopped the Dexies for like 6 months, it stayed at 100 as my resting heartbeat, which is fucked. But anyway, and he goes, oh, I'm not concerned about your heart rate because you're on stimulants. So he gave me anti-anxiety meds. So now if I'm on those, my heart rate's like at like 80 if I'm sitting down, 100 if I'm standing up, and like 130 if I miss the anxiety meds. And weirdly, I get more tired and more exhausted when I'm not on the anti-anxiety meds, and my heart rate is faster. Like, it makes no sense, because he's saying, oh, you might get tired because your heart rate can't get high enough if you like don't take them, if you're going to go do exercise, like run a marathon or whatever. And I'm like, okay, cool. But like, if I don't take them, I'm more tired because my heart rate is faster. So I assume that my heart doesn't function when it's beating too fast, and then it beats faster. It's like it's like a feedback loop, and it fucks up. Anyway.
Yeah, that doesn't sound right.
No, it doesn't. But the doctor just goes, yeah, you're on stimulants. That's what you expect. I'm like, oh, fuck, okay.
I mean, no, that makes me curious about two things, like how high are your stimulants, and then
5 a day, 5 milligrams, like 25 milligrams a day, spread out across the day. So I just take two like at 6 in the morning, and then two at 9 o'clock, and then one at 12.
Sounds like a lot.
Yeah, apparently I'm what they consider stimulant resistant. I very quickly go back to a baseline of like, I used to be able to do half, and then it was like after like 2 or 3 weeks it stops working, and then I go like up to like I think I went to, it was 2, and then like that worked for ages, like 6 months. 2 worked, and then I was like, well, now I'm like, it's starting to like, it's not lasting till the end of the day. So it's like, okay, well, I'll take like 2 in the morning and 1 at lunchtime, and then it's like, and so the doses keep going up, because it's like and I spread them out, because if I take them all in the morning, then I'm really focused for like 4 hours, and then I just drop off and I'm just like nothing. Like, it was really annoying, because I go to work, like, yeah, and then at 4, like, it literally like almost to the dot 4 hours later, I'd be like, I fucking like, I can't think at all. So it was like, okay, we'll spread them out so that I don't have that focus and then dip, because
I had friends supposedly when they were just starting to introduce like stimulants for, I think it was like Adderall when they first like introduced Adderall or whatever.
I think
And
Adderall
they
and
just called
Dexies
it
are the same
X.
thing.
They just called it X at the time.
Okay, fair enough.
X. That was the letter. Like the letter gives was X,
Ah,
and
okay.
it caused like permanent heart palpitation to him.
Ah, yeah. So I think
Where
what's like happened to me is that it's done some permanent damage to my heart because of something else that like the doctors didn't find earlier, of like something.
yeah, they didn't fine tune essentially, I guess, the concoction, and so now he's on like heart medication, and he's only like 28.
Yeah, I'm only
29,
26.
28.
Yeah, I feel like because they did the whole thing. Oh, don't take stimulants if you've got like a family history of heart conditions, and it's the issue is my family doesn't go to the fucking doctor, so maybe I do, and I just don't know because nobody else fucking got checked. I'm the only one that actually went through the effort of getting checked, and it cost me like $350 for the doctor to go. Oh, it's a thing that happens sometimes. Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
I'm only on what's it called? Adderall extended release.
Yeah.
XR,
So
whatever.
when I say Dexies, I think Dexies and Adderall are the same thing. Dexies is the active ingredient. Adderall's the brand name. We don't
Yeah,
have the
so
like private stuff that you guys have. So like we just most of the time just call it the active ingredient, just dexymethamphetamine.
okay.
Yeah,
That's
which I
funny.
believe is Adderall in terms of like the actual like brand name.
Yeah, there's a lot of generic brand or I guess brand providers now that now you don't really know which concoction you're kind of getting.
Well, they should also be the same
And
active ingredient. I think that's what your generics are about. That it's the same drug, like identical drug. It's just that like the doses may be different. So it's like I take 5 tablets, but they're 5 milligram tablets, whereas you may be taking like a different number of tablets because they're like way higher dose or way lower dose. So I don't think 25 milligrams is a particularly high dose.
I don't know. I think that is kind of in the upper
My neighbor
higher
was
area.
taking something like 75 milligrams, but he was also like
Holy
fucking
that's
insane.
crazy.
He also got a really high tolerance, but he was the kind of person he'd take like 12 in like one, like in the morning, and he'd be like, oh yeah, but great,
That's
but then just wouldn't take any for the rest of the week because it's like you very quickly get a tolerance, and then you need to like detox to have a like. So if I don't take them for a few days and then I take them, it's like, wow, really focused with like 1 tablet, but then like the next day it's like I need to take 2, and then it's like the tolerance comes back really quickly once you've built up to a certain level, but it does diminish. And then like so I used to I think I did Vyvanse was the other one I think I did. That was like it's a slower reacting one, and that was like very much like if I didn't take it for a day, I had a really fucking bad day, but the next day was fantastic.
I heard that there's this doctor explaining this thing where people kind of get into this trap where they take the medication for like the first month and it works wonderful. But then the body builds like a natural tolerance and then they want to up the dose. And they get stuck in this loop of just upping the dose every few months, upping the dose, upping the dose. So I was talking to this one doctor and he said this is kind of like the mistake of the fault of the medical field. He said that your body is going to build a tolerance, or I guess this is how he was explaining it to me. He said even if it builds a tolerance, the medication is still technically working. It's
Yeah.
just you don't feel the same way. Like you're not gonna feel locked into the same uh as you first took it.
Yeah,
But the medication is still working in the background, and
it's better than it would
it's
be otherwise, but it's still
yeah,
not perfect.
it's just a pick me up in a way. It's not supposed to be your default mode. It's not supposed to like change
Yeah,
your actual mode to be like that heightened focus all the time.
be
It's
nice if
kind
it did
of
that.
like if you didn't have the medication, it's like hyperfixation. I don't know if you
Yeah,
ever
yeah,
had
yeah,
like
yeah,
moments
yeah.
where hyperfixated.
That's part of what the medication's supposed to stop is the fact that like I can literally sit down on my computer and then be like, oh fuck, it's been 8 hours. Like I
Yeah,
don't play
exactly.
Factor if
Yeah.
you've got ADHD because that shit's like crack. You just fucking I literally would be like, oh, I'll just do 1 or 2 things, and then before in the morning I'll be like, oh, I gotta go to fucking bed.
Yep. That's me with manga. I find a really good manga. It has like 100 chapters.
Yeah,
I'm sitting on the couch for like 12 hours and I'm already
I
finished.
did it with audiobooks where it's like I wouldn't read for ages and then I'd pick up an audiobook that was good and then it was like, oh fuck, I finished it, and it's like fucking 12-hour audiobook, and I'm like,
Yeah.
this is one day I
Holy
just sat on the couch and didn't do anything.
Yeah. And you just realize I didn't eat for like 12 hours. Holy
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
Like everything just like hits you. Like
Yeah.
I'm super thirsty, super hungry. Yeah.
My favorite thing is like my
So
friend was trying to work out like if I did ADHD or if I was just doing it for the medication, and like when you're on the drugs, it's like how do you act? I'm like I feel really boring. Like I would not take the drugs if I didn't need them to work. Like I actually don't like being on them. They're not fun. They make me boring. And so oh yeah, no, you've got ADHD. Like I met someone else once that was like, they diagnosed themselves with ADHD because they took Dexies to have fun, and then they were like, it was really fucking boring. I just sobered up and was just like sitting there being like, oh, I'm going to probably do my taxes. And I was like, yeah, that sounds about right. Whereas like other people are like, oh, fuck, it's fun. They hit the ceiling, and it's like, no, I hit the ceiling when I come off them. I get rebound side effects, which is fun.
Yeah, I kind of get you to sit there and just like do nothing for a second, and I'm on a consider low dose, so I'm doing just a 10 milligram.
Oh, yeah.
And the reason why I said there's like generic companies, so technically, so the current manufacturer I'm on, I checked their actual like forms, and they had like images of all the dosage. And I used to be on a pure just blue capsule pill,
Okay.
and it was said 10 milligrams. But then I changed to a different manufacturer, and I went to their website and I found their images for their pills. And supposedly I'm on paper, like my doctor says 10 milligrams.
Okay.
But according to their website, it's a 5 milligram dose. I'm like confused. I was like, I know this is not feeling the same. Like it feels completely different.
Yes, that's so.
When I first took it.
I think you're supposed to be taking 2. Then, if the packet's like 5 milligrams, but the doctor's saying 10, that means take 2. Like that's why I'm saying I'm on 25, but I take 5 tablets because they're 5 milligram tablets.
Yeah, I asked that question to the pharmaceutical guy, and he's like, no, because you're on the extended release. Technically, what's happening is that it has a chemical in it that kind of delays.
Yeah, slowly breaks down or something.
Yeah, so it's like 5 for the first 4 to 5 hours, another 5 for the next 45 hours.
Oh, okay, so it's 5 milligrams per half-life, because I think that the half-life of Dexies is 4 hours.
Yeah, and when I was on the pure blue pill, like I was like, I felt like alert. It was super like working. I noticed that cravings, like one of the worst things I hate is like short-term videos, like doom scrolling.
Oh yeah, I hate shorts. It annoys me to no end that there's no way to tell YouTube to fuck off and stop showing me shorts under everything. Like, I don't want to click them, but their algorithms are really good at showing me thumbnails that I'm like, yeah, I want to know what that video is about. But then I'm like, I can't click them. Like, if I do, I'll spend like 4 hours doing fucking nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so when I was on the blue capsule, I could literally tell myself no, and I never had I didn't even look. I knew my medication wore off at the point towards the end of the day where I was doom scrolling, but during the entire day I didn't need it. It's like my brain just wanted like this automatic fix or something.
Yeah, the dopamine.
I didn't need it. Yeah, so that's how I kind of know when it's working. And also my I guess my linear thoughts. Like I have like a thought going while I'm talking, and so I lose what I'm trying to say versus when I'm on it. It's like
it's much more like you get one train of thought as opposed to 4 or 5 that are running that you're jumping between.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yep. So I actually don't like taking it. I used to be a runner, and I used to run 3 miles every day. So my normal heart rate was actually lower because when runners, when they run a lot, their heart rate just sits a little lower than typical.
Yeah, the healthier you are, the lower your heart rate. And say, my Fitbit used to be like, oh wow, you've got you're like top 95 percentile of health in terms of, because I didn't really exercise, but I've got good genetics apparently, so I could just like sit on the couch and stay really thin and still like quite healthy. Like I could outrun most people that would like be relatively fit. I'm like, I don't know outside, but like I could outwalk just about anyone. This is a part of how I was raised. Like we used to walk to the bus stop, which is 2 kilometers away, like every day. So it was
nice.
So I was like, I was fit while I was young, which means apparently I just stay fit until I'm assuming at some point, because everyone keeps telling me I'll get old and I'll suddenly just be really unfit. Instead, I did Dexies and fucked my heart. So now Fitbit won't even tell me my resting heart rate because Fitbit has issues with their technology can't really detect things if it falls outside of normal, and that's why all their shit's like this is not a diagnosis of, like, you don't use this for diagnosis. It's because if it falls outside of normal, they just don't report it. Like my resting heart rate doesn't get collected when I'm at rest because it never thinks I'm at rest. My heart rate's too high.
Right, it probably thinks you're like running a marathon or some shit. Right? You're like in the middle of a workout.
I don't take my meds, and then it literally goes, "Oh, congratulations on 750 minutes of exercise today." And I'm like, I haven't even been up for 750 minutes. So like,
oh man, that's so bad. That's like I had when I transitioned. So I stopped taking the blue capsule pills. I guess in a way it kind of benefited me because the last time I took it, I had what felt like a heart attack, but according to the doctors, I didn't have a heart attack.
Okay.
So it was like a sharp pain in like my left chest area, like below the collarbone, like a really sharp pain, like needles,
Ooh, I know what you're talking about. Oh, yeah, like a
and it
stabbing,
would radiate
strapping
down my
pain. Yeah,
neck
yep. Mm-hmm.
and then go down my left arm.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom was like, "That's a heart attack." And I was like, "I'm 20."
No,
You know, at the time I was like 26.
yeah, the thing with heart attacks, it doesn't really matter how old you are. Apparently, like it's alarming when it happens to a young person, but it's like actually quite common. It's just that like you only hear about it when it's young people because it's like wow, like they're not supposed to have them, but it's like they have them all the time. We're not like going to die from them. It's more what it. Yeah,
Yeah.
continue.
So then I went to the emergency room and they were like, "We did all the tests. You got no signs of heart attack." And I was like, "Then what the heck's happening?" And they were like, "We don't know." And I was like, "That's not the answer I wanted."
I got told stress when I went to the doctor about that. So
Interesting. Stress.
yeah, so I woke up one day and I was like, I need to go to the doctor because like I can't get out of bed. Like I'm in so much pain. It was like a fucking knife stabbed through my chest every
Yeah.
30 seconds. And over the course of the time, it got longer and longer between fucking things. So eventually I could get up, go upstairs and be like, Mum, I need to go to the fucking doctor because I can barely fucking stand up. Like it was so fucking bad. And then they went, oh yeah, it's probably just stress, you know. I was like, what the fuck? Okay, like whatever, because they put the ECG in there. But I've had other previous other chest pains since then. And it's like, yeah. But every now and then I'll turn my head just the right way, and it'll catch the nerve, whatever nerve is causing this issue. It will catch on my rib cage, and I just get this fucking stab through my chest and like a strapping pain, like I've been hit with a fucking like electric fence. And then I just sort of sit there for a minute, and go, oh fuck, this hurts. Because if I go to the doctors, I'm going to be there for like 12 hours, and they're going to be like, oh. So
Yeah, exactly.
giving
I
up
don't know.
on fucking doctors at this point, and our healthcare's free. It's just they're fucking bad at it.
My healthcare ain't free, and
Yeah, sucks.
I low-key
Yeah.
wish I don't want to waste a wish, but like it would benefit me if I had a decent doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So someone told me that like the way your heart works is that it's like an engine, like a car engine. After
Okay.
a certain amount of X amount of beats, it has like a kind of like a longevity
That's just bullshit.
thing.
No,
After
it's
X amount of beats.
because it's a muscle and it's constantly replacing itself. That's just not how it, like your heart doesn't just run out. Because it's the thing. It's like young athletes. Because that's the idea of like people that have that view are like the ones that are like I don't want to exercise, so I'm going to claim that I'm actually doing better. Yeah, it is very tiring to have a very high heart rate. Funnily enough, my heart works worse, so it gets higher. Yeah, so the idea is like people that are like, oh no, your heart's only got so many beats are basically saying they don't want to exercise, but it's been proven that like your heart is a muscle. If it works out, it gets healthier because it strengthens itself.
Right.
Like it doesn't just have a certain number of beats. It's like saying that you only move your arm so many times before it falls off. Like it's just
That's
not
what I
how
said.
it works.
That's exactly. I was like, this isn't that exactly.
Yeah.
I said like
Yeah, it's
something is napping here.
But what can happen is that your heart can end up with like arrhythmias and stuff. And so the idea is that I thought it was really interesting. I was watching something talking about like a bladder transplant's harder than a heart transplant because our heart as an organ is so detached from the rest of our body because it doesn't want to be fucked with that you can just take it out and put it in someone else and it works. Whereas things like your bladder has to tie into your whole fucking nervous system so that it can like tell a whole bunch of muscles to tighten, a whole bunch to relax so that like it doesn't just fucking leak piss all the time. But like your heart's just like, no, don't fucking touch me. I'm doing my own thing. But what your heart does is it has like a bunch of cells that basically talk to the cell next to them, and they're like nerves, but not quite. It's like its cardiac muscle is special to every other like versus skeletal muscle, but it has like a calcium channel in it that when one side of your heart starts beating, it triggers the part next to it to beat, which triggers the next part. So it does like a pulse across the heart, and sometimes you can damage those cells, and it'll mean that like you might end up with like a pulse of these cells that's faster than the rest. And I think it can travel from that through and back, and so your heart beats from both sides at the same time. It fucks with your ability for your heart to beat properly. And so what they do is they turn it off and they turn it back on again, and that's what your defibrillator is all about.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, because your heart, like literally, like if you chop someone's head off but kept the blood from coming out, their heart would continue to beat because it has nothing to do with the rest of your body. It just beats as like a reflex of its own. It just triggers itself. It's weird, like a weird cyclic thing.
I heard there's it's like a vortex. Someone like unraveled the heart of a donor.
Okay.
Just unraveled.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like wraps around.
It's like a sequence of bands basically, and that would unwrap into a spiral, I guess, if you unroll the heart. But yeah, the idea is that each sort of cell talks to the one next to it and says, I've just beat, it's your turn. So they all like, it pulses like a wave across it, and you can end up with that wave getting out of whack with itself, and so you end up with your heart not beating fucking properly, and it just sort of like one side will contract and then the other side will contract.
That's pretty interesting.
I don't know how I'm returning the wrong type. Oh, it's just an old error. Okay. The body annoyingly we have to work out. Damn. But somehow like a window it maybe? Do I is it a window? Map window. Windows. Returns the iterator of all content window. Okay, that's how we want to go. So then we'll do that later. I assume Windows. This is like Rust stuff that I've never used. The last time I used this kind of weird Rust stuff was Advent of Code, because it was like it answered one of the questions. So like I looked up how to like get it to iterate through. Basically, a window is like if you have an array of like 15 elements and you say windows of 3, it's like every set of 3, which what I was checking is that it skips the first and last because they can't make a window of 3 out of the very first element, because it obviously gets included in the first window, and the last element because it would be excluded. So you end up with like just the center elements. So we say if some I guess head equals snake dot first, some sprite getting ahead, and then we like also this is big as the word long and failed to get head segment. Okay, so okay, so it's okay. And it's image. Texture.
I don't know if you answered this question already, but a guy asked, do you already know how to...
outside of what I showed you, no. I think I did answer that by saying like some, but I don't remember. But yeah, like I have a vague idea of how to program Snake, but like the issue is, again, like as I said to you before, because we went through it last week, I've got like that much information I solidly know, but my brain keeps thinking that I've already implemented that to that extent rather than restarting for the stream. And so it keeps doing this fucking like, oh yeah, I gotta do this. And it's like, I haven't done the thing that was before that yet. So like a lot of this is that I have a big issue with like, I guess like decision paralysis of like, if there's too much scope to something, my brain just shuts down and goes, okay, like no, you just can't do anything.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what's happening with this. Is like my brain is like, I know the small stuff to do, but the scope is too big that I can't focus on that one thing to get it finished and working. So I keep like not doing it. Okay, get it down. Okay, we're gonna need to get access to like the. Let's see. Segments. Facing direction. I assume the snakes are facing sideways, which means we actually want to go. Ooh, none should be the last one. Then we can just multiply it, and we would say facing right, down, left, up. I think. No, that seems right. We'll find out. Okay, so it's like sprite, and actually no, we don't need access to the facing direction. Well, we will, maybe. Maybe. I think the facing direction should be handled somewhere else, but I'm probably still gonna need the transform or something. We'll try with the transform. Yeah, I'm trying to implement a very specific feature, which is then not working because I haven't actually like planned it all through. So I keep just doing things as they come to my mind. So like at the moment, I'm just trying to I actually took that. I should really flip that around. Like what I need to do is like look at where the next segment will be, so that I can work out how to put the current segment, and that's just like not quite. So So you would know the transform. So the head doesn't care about the transform, and I think the tail does care about the transform. So, I need to get sprite. I need to set your sprite correctly. Right. So we need to do something like, oh, like I'm just gonna no, what am I doing? Then we need to say something like if snake.len is greater than 1 and it's okay, and now we can say I feel like I need to set the head like, you need to already have access to the head because otherwise it feels a bit pointless. Hello, welcome to the stream as I develop Snake. Far too many features at once. So if Snake's in them, so then we get access to the tail, and then we can say, hey, sprite. Okay, so I guess we do want access to this position, and then we probably want to like, yeah, okay, I'm just going to continue and say like, hey, you failed to get a head segment. No skipping. I think I have to give you a type, don't I? Transform. Okay. I saw something that's like you can declare shit, and I didn't know that apparently you can declare shit in Rust. And then like assign to it, which is weird.
I didn't know that either. I thought you had to.
Yeah, I always thought you had to assign when you declared it, but apparently like you can declare, and I think it'll yell at you if you try to use it before you assign to it, or if you try to use it like in a path that potentially you can get there without ever assigning to it. It's like a weird, like the compiler can check to make sure that like at some point you did assign to it. Because I used to always have like at the top of my thing, oh, like this equals none. I know that it'll be set in the loop, but I have to equal like or default. Like I have to set it before I enter the loop, even though I know that in the loop it will definitely be set. And it's like, apparently you can just declare it and then assign it in the loop, and Rust will make sure that there's no way to get through the loop without assigning it. Like if you return early, it doesn't matter. And if you know, so as long as it, before you break, you've assigned it, or before the loop ends, like in every loop you've assigned to it or something. It's like, it just works. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Yeah. I don't actually. Segments, maybe. Right. Huh. Alright. Pre, main, and next. Okay. First off, you're supposed to be inside this. Okay. So then we're gonna say, okay. So then we're gonna say something like, instead of doing that, we need to say, well, no, the type. Query. Oh, was it segments? Segments dot. Yeah, I mean get. Get mute. Alright, I think it's like get. We have to pass in segments. Are you gonna return an array? I don't think it works like that. Can I index by? Yeah, I think you need to be fixed size, don't you? Yeah, okay. But I should be able to go like segments 0. Needs to be an array itself. Like, oh no, as I get to many. Many? Many. Get. Fucking, I don't remember what the fuck function is called. There's a way you can get like multiple entities out of a query, and the idea is that like Bevy takes care of making sure that you don't access the same one twice. I thought it was just called many, but apparently not. Chunk? That doesn't seem right. Many. Map window? No, as. Oh, that would help because I've called it segments in a. Segments. Let's call this window. so that it doesn't fucking conflict with the name and I actually get the fucking right thing. And then we say segments dot mini get mini, and then we say window. I don't know if this is going to work. It may not return the right type. Found expected an array. Okay, yeah, so it needs to be split. I need to say like array window window window. Why are you unwrapping? Strange. No, we probably want. I think you actually need to be an array because it now knows the size of the array, like that maybe. Expected an array or slice. Oh yeah, okay, so that's okay. Else failed to get middle segment right. Okay. Maybe. I assume this is working. I don't actually know. Interesting. Unknown, unknown, unknown. Get many. Interesting. Alright, well, we'll find out if it works. And you call these segments. Right, then we need to go like, this is getting a bit silly. So we go to mod and we go like facing direction. We're gonna like import facing direction. I guess it's maybe it should be moving direction. Anyway, I'm gonna go fn in maybe is moving maybe. I'm so bad at naming things. Moving. So this, and then we take in front. Okay. Front is going to be, yep, vec3, back is vec3, direction run is front, if directions is then left and up, down. Okay. Yep. I don't know if that's correct, but we'll let the AI decide that that's correct. So then we go back to here and we say, hey, so head equals facing direction, moving 3 dot transform, and then main dot, and then tail is apparently I spelled transform wrong. That's good. That's good. Interesting. Oh, because it's a sprite theme. Okay. Alright, so wait, I need underscore pre, and then I need main, so s and main, and I need you to be underscore next. Is that gonna work now? Kind of. Okay, well, oh, it's translation. Translation. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Ooh. It's a hideous looking function. So I'm gonna go over here and be like, bend. That's bright, maybe. The answer is no. So it's going to take in forward next, yes, which is going to be a facing direction. Previous is a facing direction. Pass in the sprite. This is needlessly complicated, but you know. And then you return like a boolean. Really should be returning like a struct and just making this actually fucking proper. Anyway, so we're gonna say next previous sprite. Sure. Right, so, and I make it fucking actual struct. Right, maybe like struct connection. Right, and then you're going to return a flip. Yes, just a single flip. I don't know. Maybe. I want to say maybe flip X and flip Y both need to be something, and then rotation probably also needs to be something. Can leave that for now. Straight is a boolean as well. Straight, and then we go impl connection. Well, except new, and then we're going to say next to the facing direction, and pre is also a facing direction. No, don't pass in rotational straight. You're supposed to be calculating that, you little bastard. Then return self, and then we need to like match next and pre. And then we go like, hey, fill in like, okay. So I think the default, don't accept word comma, but AI is like, I don't know if it's up to snuff as people seem to think they are. It's cool, but it's also one of those like, it sometimes just does shit that I'm like, God, I wish it wasn't here. This might be a me thing. It's the same as like I don't use Vim because the key bindings will annoy the shit out of me, but also like if I did learn them, it would be fucking incredible. But the number of times I've had to undo something like 4 times because it just keeps auto tab completing the fucking line. I'm like, no, but I just want to actually put a tab in. Stop filling the fucking auto completed. Anyway, so this is going to say panic. Well, we should probably like be like.
Vim to me is like a mini game once you get the hang of it.
Yeah.
But it is a little annoying to learn at first.
Like my thing with this, like I know that if I sat down and actually like learnt it properly, it would probably be amazing. Like some of the stuff that you can do is like, oh wow, like the going down multiple lines and then selecting across multiple words and being able to like specify the number of words to select, not like just necessarily like controlling across or whatever. It's like oh, that's fucking like what a great concept. But I know that I won't learn it properly, the same as I still haven't learned regular expressions properly, despite knowing that they'd be so useful for some of the shit that I do. I just don't, because otherwise I just end up like writing like a half-assed regular expression that sort of misses a certain character or something, and it just fucks up the whole thing because it replaces like I've done like the find and replace where it replaces the first word in a compound word, because the word I was trying to replace was like the normal word, and it's like I didn't put like a space or a comma or like any kind of marking at the end of it, like don't replace it if it's the middle of a word. But yeah, because I'm a dumbass.
Yeah.
And then it makes it so much harder to
cool
fix.
trick.
Yeah.
And features I haven't even touched because I didn't really need to, because I didn't really program too much. But as I started to get back into it, I'm like, dang, how do I do this? How do I do that? And then it started to be like a lot more useful.
Fuck. God, sometimes this AI, it wanted to convert the fucking types to JSON, I guess because they don't implement debugs. So it was like, oh, we just serialize them into JSON. I'm like, it doesn't implement JSON either. What are you fucking doing, AI? Just sometimes it does fucking weird ass shit. Some of the suggestions are really bizarre. Like until I put Bevy at the beginning, I fuck knows what it was trying to do. Facing direction should also be clone, copy, probably hash and all that other stuff, but yeah. Clone, copy, par equal. That's all that good stuff. Something here. Oh god. He's gonna murder this fucking Clippy. He's so angry all the time. Okay. So up not possible, but we're gonna say like facing direction up and facing direction down. It is going to I guess down and up. It returns don't flip. I guess rotate 90. And straight is true. Okay. Left and right. And then okay. And then yep, straight is true. Okay. Up and right. So it's up, right. I don't actually know which direction the sprite faces, but we're just gonna say.
So this is a connection is for the sprite.
Yeah, so this is like so we go to the sprites themselves. So there's the corner piece, and so it's like we only have one segment. It's
It's like aligning it onto
so I'm going like if the next piece is here and the next piece is here, then don't need to rotate it. You can just put this piece in. But if it's here and here, you need to flip along the I think it's Y. You flip on the Y, so it goes from here to here. And then if it's here and here, you flip on the X to go up to here. And then if it's I guess here and here, you flip on both. Okay, I don't actually need a rotation at all, but okay, well, fuck the rotation then. Oh.
It's funny because Discord is like, for me, it's like live technically, and the
Oh
YouTube,
yeah, I forgot about that.
it's like 20-second delay.
Yeah, fuck it. I've got low latency on because I can't stream it 4K at that ultra low. It just yells at me. It says it can't do it. Okay, so don't think. Oh wait, actually, we might need the rotation simply because interesting. We need the rotation on the straight pieces because you can't flip a straight piece. Okay, anyway, we'll add a little exception for that, but I was just going like, you can't flip a straight piece up into the right thing. So anyway, so the correct orientation, there's no flipping, is down and facing down and to the right. So, or facing right and down. Okay. Oh, we need to put it's going to get rear rotation. We'll hard code in some kind of indication that it needs to fucking do some magic. We'll say true to flip X. And then, I love reusing shit. And it's like, my brain has this annoying thing of being like, we must be super efficient for no fucking reason. Like, it could have just left the rotation float in there. It would have made very little difference to performance on any kind of meaningful level, but instead I'm like, no, but I can just reuse one of the unused booleans to be like, if we're straight and we're not flipping, like why you do this, brain? So you can say if it's facing down and to the left, you need to flip across the X. Is that correct? I don't think that's correct. I think it's false. Honestly, it's actually this one, but maybe the AI knows best, and I'm fucking this up. Because I've definitely had the AI do that, whereas actually the AI knows what I'm fucking doing better than I do, and that like it's just putting an answer in, and I'm like, no, I don't know if that's right. Flip it, and then it turns out no, the AI had it right. Great. Getting outsmarted by a fucking robot.
Feels bad.
I know, right? They're coming for our jobs. I also do think that like a lot of those rich people that are like, oh, no, but like it has a 25% chance of destroying the world, don't actually think that, and it is very much a hype thing. Like whether they're like, I think it's gonna do it because like they're either like really arrogant because they think they can even fucking achieve it, or like they're talking in the abstract of like, yeah, there's a 25% chance if we do succeed that it'll fuck up the world, but not a 25% chance that we will succeed and fuck up the world.
I saw this like interesting video. This like AI blackmailed, I guess, the two people who were managing the AI. They emailed each other, and I guess the AI had access to the email, and they said like, we're gonna decommission the whatever the name of that project was, and the AI saw that, and then the AI figured out that the guy who said he was gonna close the program was cheating on his wife.
Yeah.
And sent like the message saying, hey, I know you're doing this. If you shut me down, I'm saying this to everyone at work.
Yeah. So I don't think it's not a real thing that happened. That was I remember hearing something about it. Like it was they were testing to see if it would act in self-preservation. So it was like they set it up in a sandbox and then gave it those emails and saw what it did. Is like, and it was like they did the progression of timer. So they gave it so many emails, and then it's like they had it have to give it a chance to respond, and then they're like, oh, well, actually, no, it's like 3 days later, and here's some more emails, and it's like, yeah, like sometimes it would just be like, oh, I'm going to blackmail them, and other times it wouldn't. There's a YouTuber, he does T3 chat. I don't remember what his name on YouTube is. I think he's probably his T3 chat at this point, because he keeps renaming himself to like whatever project he's working on. But he's got like a benchmark called Snitch Bench, and he basically like gives them different prompts and different things to see if they'll try and contact the authorities if you are doing something illegal and that kind of shit. And a lot of it boils down to, gotta be careful with that, because if the like company puts in their master prompt that they give all the AI like before they go through the API and go out to people, oh yeah, like act in the best interest of humanity, it fucking just wants to knock on the cops like all the fucking time. It's so funny. It's like, if it can, it will, sort of thing of like this. I don't know if it was Grok or one of the other ones. They were like, it just 100% of the time, if you told it to act boldly in the best interest of humanity, would just knock. I was like, and then they do like other things, like they would do tests of like, they give it an AI, like I don't know, a email tool, and be like, hey, will it send emails? And then they give it like a command prompt and be like, hey, will it try and send an email through like some convoluted route because we haven't given it direct ability to send emails? And it did the same kind of thing of like, sometimes it would just be like, yeah, no, I'm going to do it, but usually through the indirect. Like if you don't give it a direct communication, it just won't do anything. Like it might be like, oh, I'll write a log note that says something's happening, or you know, like the CEO is committing a crime in the logs. But like most of the time, it just doesn't fucking bother if it can't directly do something. It won't try and escape its confinement to then send an email. It's like, it just doesn't care. I think it's pretty funny, all this shit. Most of the time, I think it's even funnier because it's not actually doing anything.
Yeah.
It's like
I think like who was it? Michael? I forgot his name, but he was changing what the AI said. So he would generate a
he fucking gave it all lobotomy. I remember that. It was fucking great.
Yeah, I think he was like he asked it like how to stop whatever alcohol, like something like addiction, right?
Yeah.
And then he changed it. He's like, try crack instead. And then he kept doing it over and over again, and the AI just like broke. It just fell apart. I was like,
yeah, I think he says like 3 or 4 prompts in of him changing the message, because the way they don't have a memory, they don't like store anything, but you literally just send them the whole conversation again. And yeah, it's Michael Reeves. It was. Yeah, I remember watching the short.
Yeah, Michael Reeves.
Yeah, and he's going like, but if you like just go and like edit the message, because it sends the whole thing. If you just change something it said to something it would never say, it fucking just breaks. And it's really interesting that, like, legitimately that implies that the AI has some kind of level of like, it is actually like cognitive thing of like, I do it as like in my own head does it, where it's like people will be like, oh, you said this. I'm like, but I didn't say that, because I would just not say those words. So like I may have said something that you thought meant that, but I did not say that because it's not. And it's like, that's what they did to the AI, and it just fucking broke it. Like the AI just, it's like, well, I didn't fucking what to the point that it just broke all the like the math, like the way that the algorithm works and all the math trickles down through the probabilities of fucking predictive text just breaks if you actually go back and change the text. It's weirdly like, I saw something today that was talking about like, are they actually reasoning? Because like they were saying like, if you edit the reasoning, does it come to the same conclusion? Like, is the reasoning just fluff that it's spitting out, whereas it already knew what it was going to say? And that says that no, like the reasoning isn't fluff. Like it legitimately has some kind of cognitive thing that flows. Like the exact words it's choosing somehow give it its predictive power to the level of, if you go change the words, it just breaks because the wrong word's there. Like the next most probable word is not there, and it just fucks with it.
Yeah, the outputs that was hilarious. They literally just started typing like letters, numbers.
Yeah, it was just
like,
gibberish.
It was so funny. I was like,
I don't think it was even like letters and numbers and numbers. It was just gibberish. Like it was just outputting strings of text. It was only reasonably like looked like something because they are doing tokens, which means that like instead of like every single letter being represented, it's like word fragments or entire words are a single token. It was just outputting pure noise, and it's only because most of the noise gets translated directly to whole words that it looked like it was still coherent. It was just noise. Like there was no pattern, which is just so baffling that the numbers work like that. This probability is so fine tuned that if you actually throw enough of a crowbar into it, it just fucks up entirely. Because the way that they do it is basically like it predicts the next word with a list of probability. This I want to say 128,000 words was the last one I heard of how many different tokens there are that it can come out. And so what it does is it just ranks all of these tokens in order of probability, and it goes like, there's like a 90% chance it's that one, and it's like and it all sums up to like a probability of 1 that like it has to be one of these next. And the way that like it works is to make sure that they don't just output the same answer every time, because it's a completely deterministic model. It will randomly pick a word based on the probability. So like there's a chance that you'll get a really, really, really low probability word. And that doesn't seem to break them, because they output thousands of tokens and they don't just start spewing out gibberish when one word is wrong. But boy, does it, like the fact that you can change a few words, and I suspect it's like a compounding thing that you could probably change a whole bunch, and as long as you didn't do it again, the math fixes itself at some point, like it sort of corrects itself. But the fact that he did like 3 times and then it just turned to noise, like the fact that this is so finely tuned, it means that there's some kind of fractal pattern to it that like if you push it off the fractal, it'll pull itself back on, but if you nudge it just far enough, it just fucking devolves. It's so good.
Yep. Yeah, it was pretty cool. I was like, man, that was funny. Freaking funny video.
Yeah, it's so good. I love it.
I saw this really like crazy thing where they were taking like brain cells and they're trying to interface it on a chip.
Oh yeah, that's Thought Emporium does that. Yep. Trying to make it play
I think there
Doom.
was institution that did that where I don't know what animal brain they used. I think it was like pigeon or like maybe rat brain, where they actually grew it a substantial amount, enough for it integrated on a chip, and they taught it how to fly.
Oh no, they just used a pigeon. They just actually used a pigeon. They didn't. There was no. Yeah, so what they discovered is pigeons have really good pattern recognition, and like you can train a pigeon really easy with what they call a Skinner box, which is what loot boxes are to humans. Where it's like you just, if every time it does a thing, it gets a prize. It just keeps doing the thing. What's even more bizarre is if every time it does the prize, it does it until it doesn't want the thing anymore. So like if every time you push this button, food comes out, you'll push the button until you're full. But if every time you push this button, sometimes food comes out, fuck me, you'll keep pushing that button until you explode. Like you just, like there's something about not guaranteeing the reward means that we will keep doing it forever, even when we've sated the desire for whatever the reward was. And what they discovered is that you could feed a video stream from like the front of a missile through to a screen, and you could train a pigeon to peck on the screen of like the terrorists, and it was like they had really good pattern recognition, so they would just be like, oh, there's a person, and start pecking the screen. And if you use a touch screen, now the fucking missile would keep correcting itself until the pigeon's pecking the middle of the screen. So you could put a pigeon in a tiny little flight cockpit thing and fly the missile at the enemy, and the pigeon would make it home. It's terrifyingly inhumane, but also like incredible that it works.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. Now, the closest I've seen with the brain interface chip sort of stuff is I think they did a fish, and they like mapped every single neuron in its brain, because there's only like a few thousand, might have been a neotode worm or whatever, like something with like only a few thousand neurons. And they basically went like, hey, we can like simulate its entire brain, and we can stick its brain on a chip and like keep this brain and like see what the difference is between one that we're simulating and one that's actually real. But again, it's only because it's so small of a thing. Like it's not a useful amount of brain. It's just like we could map the entire thing out. They did it with like microscopes. They literally like went in and like stained all the neurons and like individually by hand mapped every connection. They're doing it with a mouse as well, which was like the step after, because I think it took them like 3 or 4 years to do this fucking worm with a few hundred neurons. And they're like, get next mouse with its I want to say 180 million neurons or something. Well, it might be connections more than just individual neurons. But they're going like, what they did is they've taken a mouse's brain and they've frozen it and sliced it into these tiny slices so you can individually count neurons. And they've like designated a whole bunch of labs to like be like, okay, this is your pile of mouse brain slices, and you start going there and you start doing. And they're like, they do MRIs and all sorts of things on this brain to try and like map everything out, and then they start counting them. It's like it's going to take probably decades, but the same thing happened with the human genome, where it's like it took, I don't want to say 20 years for them to map out the human genome. And now you can go to the doctors and get it mapped out in like a week. So it's like technology is amazing once it's been done once.
Right.
I've completely forgotten what this code does to the. I'm so bad at this, where I'm like, I was doing
Sidetracked you
something.
so hard.
It's not even distracted me so bad. I legitimately have forgotten what this code does to the point that I'm like, didn't even think finish implementing. For some reason, I'm taking the tail, and like I know what it's trying to do, but I have no idea what I was trying to do with it. So it's taking in the tail, and it's trying to work out which direction the tail is. But for some reason, I'm orientating the tail relative to the head, but that implies that the head and tail are always touching. I'm like, but that's not the case. I need to get the previous segment, and I don't. So I don't know why I've got the head's position. What the fuck was I doing? Okay. I think what I was trying to avoid was the fact that if it is exactly one segment long, it would cause issues because you would now set the head and the tail to be the same thing. But like, yeah, I don't fucking know what I was going for with that one. Wait. Don't continue the loop. That would be really dumb. Yeah. Oh no, you continue that loop. That's a different loop. Oh, fuck, what did it? This is my like one annoyance with working is that like at work I'm like, man, I could do this, I could do that. Like my brain is so clear, and then I get home and my brain just goes like, nah, I'm fucking overdoing shit, and it just goes to sleep. And I'm like, but the things I want to do, I can't because my brain is just so tired from work.
Yeah, I experienced that, but not because of work. It's more like I guess school.
Yeah, well, same concept though. Like the thing with school is that like I've always been at that level of like I probably have some level of learning disability that I never got diagnosed with because my brother, like it was like, oh, well, you know, he's got something wrong with him, he's struggling at school. So it was like mum did everything, and then me was like, I'm really good though. Like I didn't pay any attention in class and was still like top of the class level of like I just didn't try. Really should have. Like it's more of a like if you've always been that good, then like you don't think it's anything special, and then everyone just kind of like lets you do your own thing, and then you realize later on that like if you tried, maybe you would have actually gone somewhere. But you know, anyway, that's another point. It's one of those just things like I've always been really good, but it means that I've not learnt the ability to keep working on something when I've lost interest in it, I guess. Like I didn't get diagnosed with ADHD until I was 22, 23, something like that, and then even then it was because like mum and dad was like, you got to get like a job, and it's like I can't think to get a job, so it's I got diagnosed and it worked kind of well, and then I got a job, and now I'm kind of like, man, I wish I like didn't have to take my medication so that I could focus at work and could take my medication on the weekends to be like, oh, I can actually do the projects that I have fucking piled up to the sky. But instead it's like, I should probably lay off the medication on the weekend so I don't like overdose and die.
Yeah, that's probably really frustrating. I think I was more along the lines of like didn't pay attention.
I didn't pay attention at all. That was the thing, is just, I didn't get called out because I didn't have the hyperactive. I had the like, I definitely got it more now, but I think it's also more of a like I have to be external. Whereas at school it was like I could just stop and think inside my own head, and the teacher didn't give a shit if you weren't paying attention as long as you weren't disturbing the class. So when I'm thinking through stuff in my own head, it didn't bother them. I liked math and science, which meant that like even though I wasn't paying attention, I would do math and science when I wasn't in class. Like I would do math to entertain myself. Like I worked out like the exact number of people on the bus, like because the seating's like the maximum number of people on the bus, and so I worked out how many people were in each seat because for some reason the number of children versus the number of adults is different, and it was because like every seat could hold 2 adults or 3 children except the back seat. They could hold 5 of each, hence the numbers didn't quite math out. So I was like, I spent 10 minutes standing there going like, what the fuck, and doing the mental math just to work it out. So I was really good at math. Like my math teacher hated me because she said to me once, she hates that I pay the least attention and get the highest grades because she can't use me as an example of why you need to pay attention. Because I was just like, I'm not paying attention, but I'm better than everyone else. And I was like, I was admittedly probably 1 class slower than I should have been, but I did basically the highest math. So there was like this 3 levels of ATAR math. One I couldn't do because I wasn't in the high math class from the year before. Like you had to be in year 10, you had to be in the high math class to even apply for the highest math. Then there was methods and then applications, and I was told methods was high, with applications was higher than methods, and I was like, oh cool, I'll do that because I like math. But then it turns out it was actually lower, and I went, oh well, I'm doing 4 other ATAR, so I'll stay in the applications and use like a study period. And then I scored like I think like 97% in that class, and everyone was going, you really should have been doing the higher class. I'm like, I know, but like I couldn't change partway through, and they dropped ATAR, and I was like, there, now it's just a nice class that I play cookie clicker in. She's like, he's playing games in my class. I'm like, at least it's a math-based game. Everyone else installed an extension that told them the best item. I was actually doing the math because I thought it was fun that way. If I just used the extension, I might as well just make it fucking auto-click and play the game for me.
I think I would pay attention sometimes if it was interesting
Yeah,
subject.
if it interested you.
My
Yeah.
issue is I didn't do homework.
Neither did
so
I.
didn't
Okay.
practice at all. And so the test would show up, and I would just get like C's or whatever.
Oh, yeah. It's better
For
than
the
failing.
classes that I did enjoy, like there was some math classes that I think it was more based off like my frustration towards the subject. If I just grew increasingly more frustrated when I tried to figure it out and I just couldn't figure it out, I would just stop doing it, I guess. I just gave up essentially, I think, a lot quicker. And then didn't bother with the homework. There would be some maths where I did really bad, and there'd be other maths where I did like really good. And I think it's kind of hard to like remember because I haven't really thought too much about how I was. I know in my earlier years, like elementary school, I was just like rambunctious kid, like all over the place. And I also wasn't diagnosed until last year, actually. So I knew when I started going to college that there's like some type of weird barrier. I didn't know how to describe it. Like, there was like a part of me that wanted to do good, motivated to do good. And then there's like this like I'm looking for a word, compulsive, like just like instantly would do something that would
Impulsive, yeah.
Yeah, impulsive. Yeah. So I would just be doing tasks that I shouldn't be doing. And that essentially got me into trouble. And then I was like, wait a second. What's going on here? And I was asking these questions. I explained my frustrations to like a friend, and she was like, I think you got ADHD. And I was like, what's that? And she was like, yeah, you should go look into that. And didn't bother looking into it for like another 2 years until it was like at the point where I was at high advanced classes, like Calc 2, Calc 3.
Ooh, fancy.
Then it really hit, like, it was really, really bad for physics. Physics isn't necessarily hard.
Yeah,
just
physics
like-
there's a lot of memory. Physics, funnily enough, is very little math. I was like very confused about what I was like. I was very good at physics. I despised chemistry, and my chemistry teacher despised me. So I ran into the issue of I test really well. Like if it's like a multiple choice answer test kind of thing. Like even if I didn't know, my reasoning skills are really good, so I can answer questions that we didn't have answers to. Like there was physics questions where everyone in the class was going, oh, but we all got it wrong. She didn't teach us. And he goes, oh, I didn't teach you because one person got it right. And I was like, yeah, but I knew it from other things. Like I happen to know that it was in the homework. I didn't do the homework. I just remember someone else asking a question about the homework, but I already knew the answer. It was about induction stoves and how they worked. And I'm like, no, but I just knew the answer. Like just because I got it right doesn't mean it. But like it's that kind of thing. Like I can test really well, which meant that my physics teacher didn't mind because I was kind of middle of the class because my physics class was actually smart. My chemistry teacher despised me because I would pay no attention in class. I would just talk to my friends the entire time who also just didn't want to do chemistry anymore because they decided it was pretty fucking boring. And the teacher would be like so annoyed because I was still like fourth in the class because it would be like not paying any attention. You give a test and I'd score like 90% on the test because it's math. Chemistry is math.
Yeah.
The only thing that get wrong is the fact that chemistry is a lot of like, oh, what color is this chemical? And I'm like, I don't fucking know. And it's like, well, you just memorize this table. And I'm like, what? Arbitrary numbers. Like I fucking can't. I can do all the electron math and like what chemical will come out the other end because of the fucking densities and the draws of the electrons and all that shit. It's just math. But like, it's like, oh yeah, and what color will it be? The fuck am I supposed to? Yeah, it pissed me right off with that shit. But then he worked out that I can't do essays. Like my English is just fucking atrocious, which is weird that I write scripts for my videos. But like he just like we never did a test again. It was just essays for the rest of the year. So I just stopped paying attention in the class altogether because it was like it's fucked. I just started going to cooking instead. And when the cooking teacher asked while I was there, I was like, well, I'm supposed to be in chemistry, so I figured I'd do applied chemistry instead. And she thought that was funny, so I got to stay. So I skipped chemistry for like the last 6 months. I just didn't go because
That's fine. That's
fucking
hilarious.
teacher annoyed me.
That's funny because I also had like an issue of skipping a bunch of classes. I think when I would always show up late and I would skip a bunch of classes. And it got to the point where like the admissions officer was like, I'm not even sure how you're graduating because like you have so many absences or so many skipped classes. It's kind of like bad. And I was like, really? Is that bad? And she's like, yeah. It's like
Yeah.
really bad. You gotta stop. And I was like, I don't know. I'll try.
Maybe.
and I end up just moving. So
like fuck that. No, I'm out of here.
yeah, I ended up moving to South Korea. So I was like,
Yeah, she'll be right. She'll be right.
It's fine.
He's like, yeah. I'll just fucking leave. Goodbye.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting because with those like actual hard classes, I guess you actually have to have like time management. You have to have like practice because you want to practice to do good on those exams. But then my issue is like you put on the hard work and then 6 months later just forget everything. My brain's just like, what's the point? Like, why do this? Forget it.
That's what my thing is like. So people is like always tell me I'm smart, and I'm like, no, I'm not actually. Like, but like the big thing with my brain is like I've just got a really good memory, which means that like and good reasoning skills, which means like my brother goes, oh, but you can remember so much shit. It's like, well, no, I can't. I'm really good at compressing shit because if I just remember that it makes perfect logical sense and then like enough details, I could just reconstruct what it was because it's like, well, it fucking makes sense. So he'll say really dumb shit and I'll be like, no, but this is wrong. I don't know what the answer is because I don't remember the answer, but I just know that that's incorrect. Like he was going about some metallurgy shit that he's watched some YouTuber explain to him. I'm like, but that's just wrong. Like it's the equivalent of it being like, oh, samurai swords were really strong because it embedded the souls of their enemies. I'm like, no, it was the carbon in the bone, not or in the blood or whatever it was, because they were like quenching them in something or other. And it was like the historical significance of it is like they were just making really good steel. They were just happened to be using the fucking ashes of their enemies as the fucking carbon source. They had no idea that's what they were doing. Like the chemistry was sound, the reasoning was fucked, and he says shit like that where he's like, oh well, this YouTuber said this is why, and I'm like, but that's just wrong. And he tells me that I don't know what I'm talking about. They've been doing this for 40 years. I'm like, yes, but they're saying fucking like weird pseudoscience shit. There's probably a real thing going on. Like I'm not saying that the technique doesn't work. I'm saying that the reason they're explaining the technique works is wrong because it makes no fucking sense. He's talking about gold being intrinsically valuable, which has been doing my head in recently because he's gone, oh, but gold's going up because we're all going back to the gold standard. That's why all the gold prices are going up. No, gold price is going up because you're all fucking buying gold because the price is going up. And the fact that there's very little new gold coming out of the mines. Like we only mine like 2 or 3 tons of gold a year or something. Like it's ridiculously low. Like
I heard there's like a lot. There's a kind of like similar how they do to diamonds. There's like a restricted.
No, they don't. There's just the thing with diamonds, and it's no longer the case because De Beers kind of like lost their monopoly. It's not diamonds are valuable because it's marketing. They tell us diamonds are valuable, so diamonds are valuable. Where my brother's the same. He thinks that a diamond out of the ground is significantly more valuable than a diamond grown in a lab, even though you physically couldn't tell the difference. Like something about it being out of the ground makes it more valuable, which is even more ironic because De Beers is now trying to say that actually, like no, the grown ones are even more valuable because they're doing things like you can get your loved one cremated and they will catch the CO2 and use that to make the diamond and be like, yeah, your loved one will live forever because we fucking turned him into a diamond. And I'm like, that's like really impressive that they came up with that way of being able to sell an artificial diamond. Like, but the thing with gold is that it's actually not that much gold. Gold is like in space, fuckloads of gold. In the core of the planet, buckloads of gold. But in the accessible parts that we can mine, there's just very little gold. Like we've dug up all the shit that's going to come out on its own. Like something about like there's hundreds of millions of tons of gold in the ocean, like dissolved into the ocean, but like you can't get it out because it's in parts per trillion because there's just an unfathomably large amount of ocean. So there's very little gold per liter of water, but there's a lot of gold absolute. It's like people forget how big the fucking planet is. Like, but my thing with gold is like, and why gold is rare is we mine. I want to say like less than 100 tons of gold a year. Like, there's just not that much gold. But like, and then, like the amount of gold that we mine is like we mine more iron ore out of a single mine in a single hour than we mine gold in the entire year. Like, gold is actually quite rare. Like, it's not an artificial restriction thing. It's just, but the value comes from the fact that fucking China keeps buying it to make necklaces and. Chinese people are kind of rich at the moment, relatively speaking. Their middle class is quite wealthy, which means that fucking all the gold's just being used. There's very little coming into the world, and it's all being bought by people that have money.
I think there's this guy broke it down. I forgot how long ago I watched it. I'll see if I can find it. But he said he had like this pie chart.
Yeah,
and he was like, there's like this circulation that's used by electronic companies, and there's like the consumer / like banks would use, and then one other thing I forgot what it was, and then there's like this other section of the pie chart he had that encompassed, I want to say it was a large section. It was like 40% where it was like non-circulated gold.
Oh yeah, it's just people fucking.
Like
it's something like it's like a third of all gold is bought as an asset, which means that you don't make anything out of it. You just put it in a bank account and go, yeah, it'll gain money. And that's what my brother's fucking talking about. He's under the impression that the fact that we went off the gold standard was a bad idea because it allowed rampant inflation. I'm like, but you understand that we could not keep fucking doing that. Like, he was trying to explain that going back to gold would be a good idea, and I said, but like we stopped using gold because it's like an unfeasibly expensive material to be making like coinage out of now. Like it's just become too valuable. Oh no, we stopped using it because it's too heavy. I'm like, what the fuck do you mean? If you made an Australian $5 note, which I think is worth like basically $3 US, if you made that out of gold, it's worth $177. And he's going, oh no, gold's too heavy. And then his response to me saying like, that's how much a note would be worth. We wouldn't make it as notes. Like, but it's not the fucking point. The point is that we are perfectly happy to carry around a note worth $5 in our pocket because it's not too fucking heavy. And you're saying we stopped using gold because it was too heavy when the gold would be orders of magnitude lighter. And like it confuses me to no end that he has this idea that it's like, oh no, we stopped using it for this reason. It's like, but that doesn't make sense. We stopped using it because it became so expensive that you couldn't make a coin out of pure gold because the coin would be too small to be usable. And then it got to the point where there was so little gold in it that you couldn't tell, because I was saying to him, like, you could just fake gold coins then, just put a bit of lead in them. Oh no, you can do. We had tests 100 years ago that you could test to make sure it was real gold. I'm like, yes, but 100 years ago we weren't making 1 billion of gold and then inserting lead in the middle so that no matter what you fucking do to it, it turns up as gold, because those tests were scratch the surface and you go, yeah, that's real gold, because there's like a certain rock that when you rub gold on it, it turns a different color depending on the concentration of gold. So things like rose gold would turn a slightly darker color, and normal and regular gold wouldn't react at all, so it would stay golden, and then copper would just fucking tarnish immediately like it was a fancy rock. And the idea was that like you could tell if they were cutting their coins with something, but it's like, but we wouldn't be cutting it with anything. We would just be inserting lead and tungsten and titanium, these fucking things that are heavier than gold, into the middle of the billion, so you don't know. We can just keep putting different metals into a block that's the same density as gold, and then put like a fucking millimeter wall of gold around it. You wouldn't fucking know. And you mix enough fucking gold into the lead so that even if they bit a hole in it, the fucking lead would still be golden color, and you're not going to fucking scratch every single inch of this bar to find out if it's all gold. If you scanned it with that little funny gun that tells you what elements are in things, it would still say gold because it's actually gold on the outside. It's the fact that back when we were using gold as a currency, there was literally nothing heavier than gold. You couldn't fake gold because we didn't have things that were heavier than gold other than like lead, which was, you know, kind of obvious. So, but now you fucking mix tungsten and titanium and all sorts of other like copper and that together to get just the right density that you couldn't tell. Like it would weigh the same as gold, but it would, you know, not be gold. And he just doesn't see it. To him, it's like gold is intrinsically valuable. Like he reckons if the world came to an end, like if currency became worthless, so people with gold would have everything. And I was trying to explain to him, like, if we got to the point where money was worthless, people don't want gold either. Like, you go, oh no, but like it's always been valuable. Like, yes, because it's like a thing that can't be faked and it can keep its trade value. But like, if we're that bad, the gold isn't fucking worth anything. The water is worth more. And then by time currency comes back to the point that people want gold again, like we'll just start using money again. Like because he's saying, like, he kept trying to explain to me that people won't forget that gold was valuable. I'm like, yes, but people won't want to trade with you when you went and robbed a jewelry store and they went and farmed. Like, they don't want the gold. It is so useless as a, like, the world has collapsed and money is worthless. I don't want the gold. It's not valuable on its own. Whereas something like if you gave them a fucking tungsten fucking axe, they'd want it. Even though tungsten as a material isn't that expensive. It's still expensive as fuck, but it's not that expensive, relatively speaking. But it's useful as a tool. So even in the apocalypse, the material holds its value because it's got utility, whereas like there's a lot of shit that we make these days that is worthless outside of it being valuable. You know, like it's weird.
Yeah, I think like gold originally was like useful because it just didn't rust and it didn't
it didn't tarnish. It was very pretty. We really liked it because it was pretty.
Shiny rock that didn't fade, essentially.
Yeah, basically if you made something out of gold. It was also workable. You could make things out of gold without needing really advanced tooling. You could literally fucking hit it with a hammer until it looked right. So we'd been making things with gold. The other thing is gold for some reason just turns up as elemental gold. It's just just fucking places in the world where just blobs of gold fall out of the rock as just a blob of gold. So we didn't need to learn to work it. My favorite thing was platinum, which is significantly rarer than gold. And I think up until recently was more valuable than gold, but fuck me, as gold exploded in value in the last, like, since COVID, gold has like quadrupled in value. But yeah, so platinum was always more expensive than gold for as long as I've been alive, kind of thing. Like, it's in modern times. But it used to be a fucking waste contaminant because platinum's not workable. It melts at something like 1700 degrees, so it's just fucking too hot. Can't do anything with it. It never softens. It's really brittle. So it's like when you're panning for gold, every now and then you just like 1 in 1,000 would be a nugget of platinum, and they went, fuck that horrible shiny rocks back that I can't fucking do anything. You couldn't make anything out of it. With gold, you get enough nuggets, you just swoosh them together, and now you got a bigger nugget. It's like, you can't do that with platinum. You fucking doesn't matter what you do to platinum, you're not getting it to fucking stick to itself until you melt it. And it's like it took modern technology to be able to melt it. And then when we finally got to be able to melt it, now it's really valuable. But it's like that weird thing of like, it's not about how rare it is, because it's way rarer. It's about how useful it is. And gold was just a very useful way of transferring wealth around. It was hard to fake. It was easy to work. You could easily make coins out of it, and then the Romans all filed their coins away. But that's the Romans. They had a lot of weird shit.
Yeah, but I think, well, I'm actually not too familiar. I know that in the United States they had back where the dollar was backed by like gold.
Yeah. So the whole world did that. For a while it was called mercantilism, which is so after, I think it's after we had feudalism, when we started exploring, like basically when the Americas were discovered, like that whatever you'd call that time period where we were walking around with boats. It's something from like 1440 onward. I used to play European Universalis or whatever it's fucking called. It's like a 4X game, and it's set from that time period where like, and one of the things is called mercantilism. It's the idea that gold and silver were the valuable metals, and what you did is you exported as much as you could so that you could get the gold into your country, and then you never fucking did. You didn't spend gold if you didn't have to. If you went to war, you'd spend the gold, but that was it. Like you stockpile gold, and then free trade became a thing, and it was like, actually we don't want to stockpile gold, because stockpiling gold means not having things that your people could be using. Like you can't buy a refrigerator if you keep the gold. You can't have both. So it became this idea. But yeah, the whole world was on the gold standard, which was the idea that they could only print as much money as they had gold. You could go to a bank and say, here's a $100 note, give me $100 of gold. And it fixed gold's price. It meant the gold literally couldn't go up in price, because the government would be like, no, but we can't print more money unless you sell us the gold, and we will give you the money. Which meant that the government was going, we're going to give you $100 an ounce, and that's it. Like that's what the government will give you, and you could get stuff to other people for more, but like the value of money would just keep going up because it prevented inflation. It physically capped inflation. And so the American government came in and said, hey, like it's kind of fucking with everything that the government literally just can't afford to pay for things because people with all the gold won't sell it to us. So they just went, we're not going to do that anymore. And then American became the reserve currency. So instead of having gold to back it, every country now has American dollars to back their currency in a weird, like, it doesn't matter on a local scale. Like Australian dollar could do whatever the fuck Australian dollar want to do, but if we want to trade internationally, we trade in American dollars. It's like how
I was actually kind of looking into that a little bit, not to do much, but essentially instead of being backed by gold now, it became backed by oil.
No, it was backed by trust in the American financial system, economy. It's backed by the idea that the American dollar is the American dollar. That's literally it. Like there's nothing backing it. It was that oil was so valuable and America had so much of it that they could guarantee that they would be making trillions of dollars a year in GDP. So the American economy wasn't going to collapse.
Arabia? Who was it again? It was a Saudi Arabia. I don't know. They had like a large oil reserve. And what United States did is they forced, they essentially like strong-armed that having oil only being traded in the American dollar is how it gave America.
I don't think they necessarily strong-armed any one country. It was just very much like America said, we're only trading in American dollars, and you can get fucked if you don't want to trade with us. And America is like, because my dad kept saying it with the Trump shit. He goes, we just stopped trading with them. Like Trump would fucking have to calm down because the world just stopped dealing with America. They'd calm down. And I was like, no, but like 80% of the world's consumer goods are consumed by Americans. And they're 5% of the world's population. Like, if you don't trade with America, you basically don't trade. Like, almost everything in the world that's manufactured that gets consumed, which means basically just, it doesn't just go on to make more things. Like, if we make a tool, we can use the tool to make more tools, so it's not considered a consumer good. But if you make a toaster, the toaster just goes and makes toast. Like, it doesn't actually make more things in the world, so it's considered a consumer good. And it's like Americans consume all the consumer goods, which means unless you're making things to make things, you don't really have anyone to sell it to other than the Americans. So you can't just not trade with America because suddenly your whole economy grinds to a halt. Like Australia, we're weird because we consider ourselves a developed country, despite the fact that we have a developing economy in the sense that all we do is dig shit out of the ground like African countries, but we think we're better than them for some reason. Oh, fuck it. A bit weird. We export two things, war and fucking education. We have like one of the biggest education export markets in the world for some reason. And then we complain that all our doctors are Indians because we don't want to go to school to become doctors, and the Indians do, and some of them stay. But yeah, so it's a weird thing of like, America just basically said, if you want to trade with us, you have to use American dollars, and the rest of the world went, oh fuck, well we have to trade with you. So as long as America doesn't fuck up, like the American dollar will be the default currency. That's why Trump's currently attacking China, because China wants to do what's called the BRICS currency, which is that China, Russia, Brazil, and that want to basically say, hey, we're going to start doing international trade in a third currency that's not anyone's currency, but it's the world currency. Similar to how the EU does everything in euros. And that's really threatening to America. They let the euro slide because it's like, well, they're Europeans, they're like on our side, but the fucking kind of China controlling the world currency. And it's like, it's kind of weird because BRICS in no way intends to be centralized. They're too ideologically different. That's literally the only thing that makes the BRICS countries stick together is the fact that they all dislike America. Like they're all like in some way aggressive towards America, because it's China, Russia, and Brazil, which apparently, I don't know why you guys don't like Brazil, but like that idea of like they're really big economies on their own, but they're not aligned with America. So America keeps trying to fuck with them. So they're all like, well, why don't we just like band together and trade with ourselves? And that's why Trump's being so anti-China at the moment, is because it's starting to be like, hey, it won't take much, and China can just say, hey, like now it's not the yen, what's the fucking Chinese currency? Yeah, China can just say that their currency is the reserve currency now, and the rest of the world will be like, okay, well, we want to keep trading with China. Like they could just do that, like, and yeah, America doesn't want that to happen, so Trump's very much anti-China at the moment. Which hilariously, I don't understand this like mindset that like Western people have, in the sense that we're so, oh, China's the bad guy, so we go and aggravate, like, and like attack China, and then are so surprised that they retaliate and then point at it and be like, look, China's the bad guy. It's like, you know, you went and poked a bear with a stick and you're surprised that it bit you. Like, I don't get it. Like, there was I just heard about like it's like a European country, I don't remember what one, it was one of the Nordic ones, I think. It was like they made chips, and it's the like really common chips, really cheap, like low level, like not advanced, not cutting edge at all chips.
Is it the island next to China, or is it
no, it's in Europe somewhere, like Denmark or something like that. Like they made these chips, and it's something like 55% of all cars in Europe use these chips. It's like the accelerometers and like low level chips that like are not cutting edge, so they're just really cheap and easy to make. And this one company made like 55% of the market. And at some point they got investment from China, and they moved all their factories to China. And so they still designed them in Europe, but they manufactured them in China. And they went, oh no, like China, we can't have them, like they've got too much control at the moment, we're going to seize it back. So they seized the company that like what was still in the country. And then China went to the warehouses, to the factories, and just said, you don't work for them anymore, you work for us, because you know you're in China. And they said they said that they won't deal with us if like they were going to give China the profit, but they weren't going to let China have control. Like they would be the CEO steering the company, but China could keep all the profits. They just wanted the political control, and China just went, yeah, but the factory is in China, so like they just don't work for you now. And it's like, yeah, what did they expect? And then everyone's acting like China's the bad guy for doing this, and it's like they provoked China. And China responded with, okay, well, like, but we're just gonna like, you wanted to separate, we're gonna separate. Same thing with the rare earth shit that's happening at the moment. Trump has been fucking attacking China since he got into office, and China turned around and said, well, we could retaliate, so we're just at the moment gonna make everyone sign a piece of paper, and like something about it being an automatic thing. Like they're like, unless you're making weapons with it, we're gonna 100% sign off on anything you ask. But we're just proving that we could cut the whole fucking world off. And everyone's acting like China was the bad guy in this situation. I'm like, but like, have you seen what America's been doing to them? Like my brother, the same issue happens. He's got this idea that China is the villain for some reason. Like it's that idea of they live differently to us. They've got a different mindset, so we can't trust them not to take over. If they would, they would. Like if they could, they would. So we got to keep building bigger and better weapons so that they can't attack us. I'm like, have you considered that maybe they're being more aggressive because we're being so aggressive? Like, America has the biggest military in the world, and the only people that are even close to on par are the people that are like, oh shit, America's going to invade us, we better make a military to fucking keep up. Like, nobody wanted to maintain a military until Russia attacked, and that kind of shifted the whole, like, they're going to go, oh, maybe we should have a military, but world peace is so much more profitable than war, but not for America. Yeah. So America's kind of like, no, we got to keep building bigger and badder weapons, which then pushes the enemy to make bigger and badder weapons. Like, something about the only reason we have the nukes that we have is because we didn't have the technology at the time to enforce the treaties. There was this whole thing about, we banned testing in space, we banned testing in the atmosphere, and we banned testing on the surface because we could check. We could put satellites up that could see this very distinct flash that comes from nuclear fission, that it's like, we knew they were testing nukes, so we could go slap them on the wrist for breaking the treaty. But what we couldn't do is detect an underground test. So they just said, all right, so we're banning all the shit that we can detect, but underground, that's all fair game. And they're saying, like, if it had been like 4 years later, they discovered the technology that would let them like use earthquake detection and be like, hey, that was a nuke, because with this very specific signature. But it's like, it didn't happen until after, like, we didn't get this technology until after the treaty had already been signed and all this testing had already gone ahead. But if we had that technology when the treaty was being signed at the end of World War II, when everyone was like, holy shit, that was the most terrifying thing that humans have ever done, we would have stopped developing nukes. Like, everyone agreed that was a technology that humans did not need to possess. We did not need to improve. But we couldn't stop the other side from doing it, so we went ahead anyway. We don't trust you not to, so the only way that we can be safe is for both of us to agree that we're going to. Like, it was this weird thing of, I can't trust you not to, so we're going to agree to. Like, it was, yeah. And a lot of the world's problems come from the fact that, like, nobody can trust anyone else, and we will just keep fucking escalating shit.
Yeah, I think I saw like a video of the Russians' largest
the Tsar bomber.
That's crazy.
That's fucked. I don't remember if that guy survived or not, but the Tsar bomber was not intended for this. Intended for the pilot to make it out. It was like they put a parachute on the bomb because it's like one of those. The bomb is so fucking big and so like, you could drop it so far away from the enemy and still kill them that, like, there's no chance they're going to shoot it down, kind of thing. So they intentionally slowed it down so that the pilot would have time to fly far enough away to transmit that he'd fucking successfully dropped the bomb before it killed him. Like, there was like, the radiation was so, like, and everything was so bad. It's like, if you didn't get below the horizon, it would kill you. And it was like, it wasn't intended for the pilot to make it out. America did equally dumb shit. I think they made a mortar that would fire mini nukes. It was like the closest thing to a pocket nuke that you could get, where I think it was a couple of 100 kilos or something, and it was like it would fire at like 12 kilometers. And they were going like, this thing was kind of like fire it and run, and you might get to fire it again, but you would only get 3 or 4 shots before you had radiation poisoning so bad that you were not coming back. And it was like, the point was,
like
it was a
Fallout launcher.
Yeah, basically it was the Fat Boy from Fallout. It was based on this actual thing that Americans built. And it was
that's funny as fuck.
They decommissioned them all because they went, this is really a bad idea, not just because like you're literally saying like the only people that can operate this are people with a death wish, because it's actually just like you're too close for a nuke. It will irradiate you. But it was also like, if you lost one of these things or it didn't go off, or you've now given someone a nuke that's small enough that they could actually probably fit it on a plane. Like it was a actually pocket-sized nuke. Whereas, so they basically said that this technology wasn't worth developing further and making smaller nukes because it's just dangerous. And it's that same idea. Like, we only developed the original nuke because we couldn't stop the other side. And they kind of went, you know what? Even if the other side builds this, we don't want our side to even be fucking handsome. Like, we don't want it to be our fault, so we're going to stop. Interesting. Yeah, they did the same thing. I think it's called like the Demon Sphere. They melted it down because like fucking a whole bunch of scientists died because they kept fucking with it. And it was like, they decided there was nothing new to learn. It wasn't worth people accidentally killing themselves because they were idiots. Like the guy that did it, and he like irradiated like 12 people. He was, instead of using the proper wedges and do it properly, he was just using a fucking screwdriver.
Holy, what, Demon Sphere?
Yeah, so it was like they originally, when they were doing the nukes for the World War II, I mean, they made one, blew it up. That was the Trinity one. That was like the first proof of concept. They made the second one, dropped it, made the third one, dropped it, and they had like enough ingredients to make another core, but they didn't make the bomb. They just had the core. And so they went, oh, well, we can do some research with this. So they like had the core at like a university for like many years, I assume, maybe only a decade. But it had these beryllium spheres that I think it was beryllium, that they encased it, that it was like it would go supercritical, which basically just means it starts exploding. If you completely close the two spheres around it, it would go supercritical and it would just start. And they're saying like, and this is the bizarre thing that I didn't understand about like nukes, because I thought nukes were like conventional weapons, where there is a certain finite speed that they explode. It's like, no, nukes is like as soon as that thing like closed a millimeter, like if you left it open a millimeter, it would be fine. As soon as it was fully closed, there was a blinding flash of white light and a radiating heat coming from this thing as it fucking started detonating. And it wouldn't explode. It's like an unshielded reactor, basically. It just got really hot, really fast. But it took like milliseconds.
So it just triggered the reaction, chemical reactions.
When it's a physical reaction, not a chemical reaction, which is really even more bizarre. But like, it was like I think he and the 5 people closest to it got a lethal dose in like the 1.3 seconds it took him to fucking pull the top back off. Was a lethal dose of radiation.
Oh,
they're saying his hand was basically burnt down to the bone, because it was like he just dropped it and went, oh fuck, went and pulled it off, and his hand was gone. Like it was like the amount of energy that came out of the sphere in a fraction of a second. And it's like, you can stand near this thing for hours, it's barely radioactive, but as soon as you close that sphere, that's it. It's gone fucking critical. But again, because it's not like a conventional explosive, it's a fission reaction. It's not like you can't stop it. Like as soon as you pull those spheres apart, that's it, done. Like it stopped. The reaction immediately stopped. It's just fucking bizarre. Yeah, you fucking uranium is scary shit. My brain's gone back to sleep. I'm still trying to work out this shape thing. My brain just didn't quite get there in terms of solving it, and now I'm just getting distracted. Yeah. Any questions? questions. We keep talking about random shit.
Yeah. My fault.
No, it's all good. I enjoy it. That's why I kind of want to have on stream, because I get much more viewers when I talk about random shit than when I'm sitting quietly by myself. And yeah, it's fun talking about random shit. And I know too much about random things. I watch too many YouTube videos. I was looking at my like YouTube premium thing because I wanted to see how much it was costing me or something, and it has terrifying statistics. It's like let's see if I can find, like, I think it's in settings and you like your premium. It told me that I've watched 10,000 hours of ad free.
That's a lot.
And I was like, over 5 years, so it's not too terrible, but that's like 8 hours a day on average. I've done 10,480 hours of ad-free viewing, 30 hours of background
on your
play.
resume. You could put professional YouTube watcher.
Yeah. Well, because they say it takes 10,000 hours to master a skill. So
that's funny.
Yeah, that's where apprentices get their 4 years from. It says 10,000 hours. Or is it technically the 5th year is the 10,000 hours are in there? But it's if you work for 4 years at 8 hours a day, you get 10,000 hours. Yeah, and it's 660 hours of music, which is surprisingly low, but I tend not to listen to music. And then somehow I've downloaded 188 videos, despite like not really ever thinking I downloaded like more than maybe 10 intentionally. I don't know how I keep accidentally downloading them, but apparently I do.
Yeah, I don't have YouTube Premium. I just do the Brave browser. No ads.
I had ad blocker, but apparently YouTube's getting a bit clever with that one. I love that one, that they tried to stop everyone, and it did the Streisand effect of like now everyone knows that an ad blocker exists, and it just took like 2 or 3 months for the ad blockers to update themselves and work out how YouTube was doing it. And then there was that weird apocalypse thing that happened, where everyone was going, oh, like our views are down. I think it was like 30% from PCs over like from a very specific day. Everyone's views dropped, and it was but they're going, but our revenue hasn't dropped. And there was this whole thing where it was like all these people trying to just solve it, and the Spriffing Briff came out and said, no, you're just being idiots. It's not a thing. It always does it around this time of year. It's all in your heads. And then when the ad blockers came out and said, yeah, it's our bad, we changed something that blocked tracking cookies, and they didn't whitelist tracking cookies from the site that you're actually visiting. They only they blocked all of them instead of just like the third-party ones. And it meant that YouTube literally couldn't track if you were watching a video with ad blocker on. So it just didn't record it as a view. So your revenue wasn't going down because you weren't getting an ad view anyway, but your actual views on the video were. It's this weird thing of like that it took a while for them to clue in that it was happening. my annoyance with spiffing Brit was he came out and told everyone that they were just in their head kind of thing, and I was like, but it wasn't. Like, there was a lot of proof that it wasn't in people's heads. Like, there was the fact that it all happened on exactly the same day, and you can point to it. It wasn't a trend, and certain channels were affected more than other channels. And it was something like the more tech savvy a channel was, the more of a viewer drop they had, and the younger an audience was, the more of a viewer drop they had, which all points to it's something technical that was happening. And it was like, it turned out it was an ad blocker blocking the tracking, which I thought was kind of funny.
That is pretty funny.
I kind of want to turn on this fan, but I don't know if it's gonna be loud where the mic will pick it up. So I'm gonna turn on. Let me know if you hear it.
Okay. I don't hear anything, so you're all good.
To me, it's really loud. I don't know if you can hear that.
I don't hear it, so I would say no, not very loud.
I lost the remote for this thing, so it's like stuck at a high speed.
Oh, wow, fun. Here's an interesting thing. So I bought 4K monitors because apparently you can't stream at a higher resolution than you're recording it, and I have the issue of my old monitor with 1016, which meant that even though it was 1080p wide, it wasn't quite tall enough for YouTube to register it as 1080p, so my stream will cap to 720. And so I went and bought myself a 4K monitor. Their remotes have a tiny solar panel in the back to charge the remote with new batteries in it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I thought it was like a cool feature. I mean, the screens were expensive, so like, what do you expect? But also, I found it hilarious that like I was trying to just get basic screens because I do programming most of the stuff. Like, I needed 4K for programming, and they're all going, oh, well, you know, we have these ones that are like 1440 hertz or 200 hertz, the massive curved ones. They're all thousands of dollars, and I'm like, I know, I don't need. And then I went to like the old people store instead of like, you know, the store that sells technology. I went to like the store that sells refrigerators and looked at theirs, and they had like a Sony one that was like 60 hertz, and I was like, no, it's sort of the guy going, oh yeah, I mean, can I get that one? And he goes, oh, it only goes up to 60 hertz. I'm like, fucking program it. Okay, he goes, oh yeah, good. Fair enough. I just thought it was hilarious that this dude was like, oh, I'm just going to warn you, it only goes up to 60 hertz. I'm like, the fuck? I also don't understand how they can have a response time faster than the refresh rate of the screen, though. Like, it says it has a 4 millisecond response time, but it's 60 hertz, which means it's 16 milliseconds per frame. So I don't know how it can do that. I assume if the screen doesn't change, it can then refresh faster than if it's changing all the time. Some kind of like capacitor thing. I don't know. It's weird.
That is weird.
Mm-hmm. Okay, new connection. So dumb. S dot rotation. Wait, what? Oh no, mutable main. I have no idea if this is going to work. I hope it does, because otherwise I've written a lot of code that I'm going to have to try and debug very slowly, as I have no fucking idea what a lot of it's doing, because my brain has not been switched on. But it should, if all goes right. Can we not? Is it like not frac 1 pi? Frac 2 pi? I think it's frac 2. Yeah. Frac 2 pi. I feel like it's 2 divided by pi. Well, I think we're the opposite. Pi frac 2. Frac pi 2. Yeah, frac pi 2. There we go. So fucking dumb. Why are there constants like that? Yeah, rotor on the Z. Yeah, okay. Then we say something like main rotation equals yeah, except we're just going to pass in the angle of connection. Oh yes, right, correct. It might work because it only works to the tail. Wait, We don't do anything. We just flip that. That's right. It's just s dot flip x equals connection flip x flip y flip y. Okay, so it's gonna update snake texture. Now technically, I think again, so it's like in my head when I'm still working on our project that we were doing off stream. So I'm like, I need to put it in fixed update. I'm like, I don't even have a fixed update in this one yet. So we're gonna insert a resource and say time fixed from hertz 10. So the idea, I'm not gonna be able to control the snake, so I don't know why I'm pretending like I will be able to anyway. With child, I guess we just
Here's how it looks.
we gotta make like multiple children. The idea, I think, if this works, so we had snake segment. The idea is that like the first segment when it's added will go, hey, I'm the first segment, and just put itself in place. And then the second segment will go, hey, I'm the second segment, and put it in itself in place. And then the third segment will go, hey, I'm the third segment, and put itself in place. So update snake tissue. This is gonna be like, I want to say it's gonna be like post. No, it's gonna be it'll be fixed. Prefixed update. Fixed update. I don't. What's it called? Fixed pre-update. Okay. So then we update the snake's texture because otherwise we'll be a frame behind. We're gonna go some steps up. So we go main. We go snake plugin. We hey snake plugin. Add plugin. We need to say rendering. Snake render plugin like that, and then we go up to main and we say, hey main, can you app dot insert add plugins, and I'm gonna say snake snake plugin. This we go, what the fuck is it gonna look like when I render this? And yeah, like a really weird looking snake, I think. I also never specified anything like the snake size or anything like that, so fuck knows what it's actually gonna do. Oh, it crashed is what it's gonna do. I assumed because we were trying to access something we're not supposed to be touching. Warning, yeah, so that implies that the snake probably needs to have like visibility. Like so yeah, you can complain about the snake not having visibility. So something snake texture. Oh yeah, we should probably do that. Yeah, that would be smart. So go to app. We're gonna say hey app dot init resource snake texture handles. So that should then load all the textures. Now I do need to work out something. Now we're going to stack on top of each other because the snake doesn't move. Okay, so I think maybe we've got to add like a quick little thing that makes the snake like move, I guess. It's going to make it actually move though, so we're going to be like just sort of a step, I guess. Move snake. I guess it's a new egg. It's the other way, but okay. So we're gonna like mute facing direction. Except we're gonna like maybe look at constant up here like we did on the other one. Be like const snake size. Let's say 32, and then we're going to say next size. Alright, so move to the right plus yeah, that looks right. So we're going to go smooth snake, and then we're going to say, hey, can we add this to add underscore systems fixed. I want to say fixed update because I feel like the movement is going to fixed update. And then we go. Actually, no, that seems like a dumb idea. Rendering. Maybe we picked up. This needs to be in post update then. And move that. We need to move it and then Admittedly we can't turn, so it's not gonna matter, but we need to we need to move the snake, then update the textures along the snake to render it in the correct orientation. Okay, we're still not rendering anyway. Now, concerning, I see a white dot and it's not moving. It's even more weird. Okay, so creating a new window snake. White spotted texture not loaded. God damn it. What do you mean it's not loaded? I'm gonna have to just hard code in fucking loading, aren't I? God damn it. Wait, apparently. Oh, should load. Shuffle finish to loaded. Okay, that's probably the issue. So we need to say up here, we're gonna be like, hey, can we systems, and then I guess we just put an update. We can put it in fixed update even. Doesn't really need to go in there, but you know. So was it something like snake texture handles shuffle texture dot run if snake texture handles should load. Yep. Oh. And then we go. Yep. Yeah, full screen something. Okay. So it's got this. It's got cargo run. Oh, now it's gonna fucking come on. Wow, at least we have all the systems in place, I think. It's gonna actually like load the snake now. No, it's gonna crash again. Okay. So not implemented none. Okay, how did you get none though? So something got these and returned none. The fuck returned none? Move. Okay, right. It's exactly the same. Okay, right. Okay, so when we return none, we should just say like none. No, when you want to say none. Thank you. None. And then we already have up down. Yeah, weird. None. Just return, I don't know, false, straight apparently. Okay. Okay. Now, question is the first off, these shouldn't have been zeros, but that's more to do with, I haven't actually updated this next position, so all three segments are still going to be on top of each other. Hey! I don't know how I managed to capture that tooltip. It's not moving. Did I not add the move system? That's probably what I did. Move snake. No, I'm moving the snake.
See it on my end.
Oh, they're still fucking pointing none, that's why. God damn. Why is it default? Okay, maybe I should default to right then? Maybe. No, we should default to something else. When do we spawn the snake? That's in main, isn't it? Alright, so we need like this and like facing direction. Alright, so the head's gonna be facing right. The you're gonna be facing down and left. Yeah, that's fine. So right, down, left. So that should make, so if you're facing right, so you're about to go that way. You're facing down, which means you're above it. And then you're facing left, which I think means you're that way. Okay. Yeah, that should work. Alright, so it probably shouldn't default to none. The issue is when I insert it, I need to make sure I grab what the previous one. I think I'm probably already doing that. It's just that they all start at none. So snake, something. Snake type. No, we never actually grabbed it. Okay. So at some point I grabbed the previous snake, right? So previous last. Okay, so we get your transform. We also probably want to copy. Okay, we probably want to get your transform, but also, can I get more than one component? I don't think so, actually. Can I grow two? No, not a component. Yep. They're working on changing that in the future. So at the moment, it's because it specifically asks for a component, it's not possible to like do that, like wrap it in a tuple, because it's, you know, a component is a specific type. but they want to change it to requiring a bundle, which is like any tuple of components is also a bundle, and so it's like a limitation with this current version. Okay, so it is facing, then we get this, which is annoying because I don't think I can set both. Okay, we should probably default the facing direction to something other than none, then, because otherwise it doesn't really make sense. Anyway. Okay, and then we need to change this from an and to, I guess, if. Admittedly, I could probably just unwrap a lot of this stuff because it really doesn't need to be checked because it's like it 100% should work. Okay, so we need to set the transform to the transform. We have the position facing, so we need like plus facing dot to vec, I guess. Yeah, sure. Times super fucking not. Snakes, I think. Yeah, we'll add the two vec, and then we say if let mute segment facing, you know, seg facing get mute facing, and then u equal facing. So clone the one above, maybe. Maybe. No, actually, I should probably leave it at none. Because the idea would be that when we do the movement system like we did in our test one, the being spawned in with none means it won't move for one frame, and then that snake will pull out from underneath it, so it's got to like spawns the next segment on top of itself. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So I need to implement you. I need to go like two vec. Right is positive X and down is negative. Yeah, okay. I'm just going to assume that the AI knows what the fuck it's talking about. For now, apparently we are back to making this an and here, because otherwise fucking Clippy just does not like me. So this should mean that they're no longer stacked on top of each other because we actually take the facing direction. They all should have a facing direction now. Oh, it crashed again. Why did you crash? What have I still not initialized? Something not implemented right. Wait, what? First off, right is not a valid fucking option because you should never. How did you get right? Right implies that the two segments, both the head. Oh, yeah, actually, maybe. Okay. First off, fucking, we should maybe just make it warn something. What's happening is it's I specifically made it crash for invalid states of you're moving in a direction you're not supposed to be moving, because like the right saying that both the piece in front and the piece behind are to the right of the current piece, which implies that it's double back on itself and it's, well, it should be dead, which obviously I haven't implemented, so it's just crashing. Probably not the best way to go, especially considering that I've just randomly instantiated the snake, which then of course makes it move. Panic not implemented. Okay, just one. It's gonna make it run really slow because it's gonna just constantly spit out warnings. Connection. Apparently you're gonna make it straight, which is a bit weird, but okay, whatever. That should work. This is one of those things because I'm skipping a step to try and get something rendering so I can see it. It's causing it to crash because it's trying to render. Each segment isn't following the last, it's just going its own way, and that kind of broke the logic because the snake became invalid as the fucking head segment's fucking round. It looks so fucking stupid. Oh god, I love it. Oh fuck, that's so funny.
On your end, you already have it rendered, or is it?
Yeah, like on my end, the three segments of the snake popped out and then went in different directions. It didn't stay.
Oh, yeah, I see.
It's not following itself. They were just left. They're like, yeah, I'm going this way.
It's dispersed.
Update. Okay. So I love it so fucking much. It's so dumb. So we want to say like Init snake. Query for snakes with optional parents. No, why would we want the parents? Fucking cooking AI. Okay. We don't even need the snake mutable, we just need the snake so we can get all its fucking children. And then we need to go like mute facing. Okay, now that one we need mutable AI. So the AI just sometimes just doesn't have a fucking clue. Other times it's really good. For segment in snake.iter maybe reverse. Interesting. If let, I think I need to go the other way though. I think I need to iterate through the snake in reverse. Does reverse the window? That's the better question. Probably does actually. If let OK dir facing get window 1. If let OK front facing yeah. That shouldn't work because that's going to request mutable twice, isn't it? Yeah. Wait, what? The fuck? No. Apparently. Okay. Dir is just equal to what the fuck? Front? I don't know what the AI is trying to do. It's cooking. Yeah, can't borrow twice. Okay, so you have to get many moved, and we need to pass in window 0. I'm assuming it's reversing the order of the iterator and not the order of the window, because that would be kind of weird. But yeah. So in window, right? And then we say that dereference dir equals. I should dereference that too. I think it's clone copy. Yeah. Okay. Variable is only doing mutable. Yeah. Why did you make snake? Fucking weird ass AI. Okay. So you iterate through. Wait. So you iterate through snake. So this is snake. Snake. Okay. So for snake, and then we say snake. So window, and so we say seg, and then we say well, apparently we should like F2 that one. Segment. Okay, so we go through that and we say okay, get the previous the next segment and the first segment, and then set the previous segment in the first segment, and I hope this reverses the order of the iterator, not the order of the window, because that'd be a little weird. Then we can paste this into move snake, and then update path, and then dot chain. We move and then update the path after we've moved instead of before, because that lets us like really easily just like reorient the head all the time without having to worry about where it's actually going. Okay, well, they're all going in the same direction, but I'm gonna have to slow that the fuck down to work out what happened there. It's very bizarre. Let's do like 1 per second, please. And I'm assuming it followed the path, but they didn't actually move, and then they all ended up in the wrong spot, and then they're all pointing in the same direction because obviously I didn't reorient the head. So the head is actually facing to the right. Yes. Okay. So they did end up moving in the right direction at the end. Okay.
Oh, okay. It finally popped up on my end. So they
So the head went the right direction. For some reason, the tail didn't just move at all. The tail went like completely the wrong direction. Okay, so you're just actually going the right way. That's weird. Why is it doing that? Okay. Also, I feel like the head, for whatever reason, is facing the absolute wrong direction, which is bizarre. Which way is the head actually facing in the file? Somehow I'm flipping the head around despite the head being the right direction, which is very confusing to me. So somewhere we update the rendering. Am I just flipping the head for no reason? That'd be really funny. I probably am. Okay, update snake texture. Inside update snake texture. So we have the head, and the head is done first, and then okay, so okay, so it's the head, so we need to get the facing direction. Oh right, I'm apparently like just not doing that. Okay, fair enough. Can we just bring in the facing direction for like no reason? It's gonna really annoy me because it's gonna I need to like add it to all of the fucking things, even though I'm never gonna use it on anything but one of them. I mean, the smart thing to do there would be to make an extra query, but then it's gonna yell at me about too many parameters. Anyway, so then we say something like, okay, yeah, match direction. We're gonna say, okay. So if it's heading right, sprite.flip is false false because that means it's pointing in the right direction. If it's heading left, flip X, and then if it's heading down, we want to maybe we need to rotate you 90 degrees. By 2, and then flip something. Maybe why? Maybe. So annoyingly, that means that I need to say that in both circumstances we need to flip, and only in these circumstances do we need to like set you back to 0. That's annoying. Yeah. Let's see what that looks like. Apparently, confusing. So something's not escaped properly. Right, transform other. Okay, so it's probably that you need an extra capture and you need an extra. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. In theory, I could probably just extract the facing from the other things, but anyway. Alright, snake is still goddamn facing the wrong way. So when we get into somewhere, we point the snake, update snake texture, head. Alright, so you do this, I'm gonna say print line, head direction. Okay. Then we're gonna go, am I just fucking this up and the head's actually facing to the right? Don't think so. We should have set the rotation angle to 0 and not flipped anything. Head is facing right. So, question, if I flip X, I should probably just flip both of them so that I actually know that it's flipping something, because if I just flip the wrong one, it's just going to flip it. It's going to look exactly the same because it's flipping a symmetrical image. If I flip both of them, it'll definitely be right. If the right's actually working properly. And then if it's wrong, that means that the right's not actually, it's not pointing in that direction. Yeah, it's not updating anything at all. Okay, why? Okay, first up, I'm going to like sprite.color, because it's obviously triggering the right thing. It's like color, and we like find out what black does. Probably nothing actually, because it's all going to be black. Should just turn the thing black. I don't remember how the tinting works, because it's like, I think it dyes the color, like that specific thing. So it's like, all the white should become black, but the black will stay black because it was 0. So one of these is, yeah, okay. That's not the head is the problem. Okay, that would explain. That explains that, okay. So that means I fucked up these segments then. So this is the head segment, right? Because I'm extracting 0. Texture is equal to 0, right? And then your white spot is 0, 1, 0, 3. 2, 1. But that should be right. So 2, head, 1, 0, 3. Okay. Right, 2, 1, yeah, 2, 1, 0, 0. Okay, so that's correct. Which means, where am I even using that, to be honest? So I'm setting this, and this is texture, and the texture index is 0. The texture index 0. Maybe we should print that out here. Print line.
I'm kind of curious about something.
Yeah.
When you were learning Bevy, Bevy was like kind of bare bones, so there wasn't that many examples, right? Or did they have a decent amount of examples?
They probably had. The issue with the Bevy examples is they're not actually good examples. There's probably maybe half as many, but it's more like For every feature they had an example. The examples are terrible for exactly that reason. Is that, like they're not very good examples. Is the I guess the point. I think my issue here is that I'm grabbing the snake indices twice because it's actually not that. It should be. We just want indice 0 because I was getting like the indice in the indice, which I think translates to I was putting the head in 0 in slot 0 and then accessing the slot 0 and then like indirecting to slot 0, which was then like being wrong. I think that's what's gone wrong. So I just need to make sure that when I load the textures I put them in the right spots, which I assume I was already doing. So one of these shuffle finished. Okay. Yeah, I already mapped the segment indexes, which is what fucked it up, is that I was had two different indirections that were then undoing themselves because one was indirecting and then the other swinging it back again. Okay. It's still facing the wrong way, but at least the head's in the right. At least the segment that I'm calling the head is actually the head. Okay. So now I gotta work out why it's not rotating the right way. Now, interestingly, is it... Okay, what happens if I just turn this off? Because I think it's always facing that way, which means if I just don't rotate it, is it then going to point in the right way? Which would be very confusing. Because it's already facing the wrong direction. That's what throws me here. Okay, how does not setting the rotation? So it's actively setting the rotation to 0 on the Z, which should just 0 the rotation. I don't get it. Okay. Is it the flip? A flip? Oh, well, I had it flipped twice. That would explain it. So we need to set the flip to 0, like false. Don't flip. Okay, and then for left we want to set the angle there, and we're going to flip the X, I guess. Okay, and then yep. Okay, so next is to try and track down what the hell is wrong with it. Maybe we should make it be able to aim. Make it aim so we can keep driving around the screen and work out the fuck what's wrong with it a little bit easier. User input. Facing direction with snake segment. No. Wait, we want to say something like facing direction, and then we want to say something.
So
like...
there's different images for, like, if there's like you know how like the snake turns right.
So
let's say make a
there's
U-turn.
4 images. There's 4 images in total that you need. Is so obviously the head and the tail, which by the logic of unless you could actually make the head turn, because I wanted the slightly more control of being able to turn the head while it's not moving and then it moves, but in theory, like you only need to turn the head when it actually moves, so the head will always have a segment behind it because it always just came from a spot where there was a snake. So there's only one head, there's only one tail because the tail's always following at least a segment. Then there's a straight because obviously you've moved straight 3 times in a row, so there's the straight segment, and then there's a turn segment, and then you can just rotate the straight segment or mirror the turn segment to get all the other possible combinations.
Oh, okay. So you said that the Bevy examples are bad. What was your primary source of like teaching yourself?
Experimentation. That's one of the things that I actually love about Bevy, is that it's intuitive, easy enough that I actually could like start with like the reading through the starter stuff and then just experiment and explore and work out how things worked on my own. I didn't have to I couldn't teach myself C++ because I couldn't even get it to compile without a tutorial. But with Bevy, I could read just the first 2 pages of this is how you get it to work, and then from there I just taught myself. Like I went through the examples and stuff to learn how to render a sprite, but I already knew enough about game development that I could be like, oh, I need to render a sprite, and then this is how I can do box colliders, because I already knew how to do box colliders. I didn't need to specifically have a tutorial explain something to me because I already knew on a conceptual level what I was doing.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, in theory you could watch a Unity tutorial and all you really need is a translation layer of how you do that in Bevy. If that makes sense.
Yeah. So you kind of know what you're looking for, and you're just finding how that works in Bevy, versus I guess like I don't know what I'm looking for, but I have
Yeah,
an idea
so
what I want to do.
the
And it's like
idea
there's
is
like a bigger gap essentially.
if you just watch a tutorial on like how to do something, like if you want to do a specific thing, look up a tutorial in like Unity, and the trick is to learn how to do that in Bevy rather than to try and come up with it again. But I think that's where a lot of people are running into issues. I've been using Bevy long enough that I can look at a normal pattern and be like, oh, how would I do this in the ECS? But the number of people that ask for help on like the Reddit, and then you suggest like do this, and like, oh, I feel like you're trying to shoehorn the ECS. Like, that's the point. Is that like you can't just not use the ECS. You can't be like, oh, I need to escape hatch out, and then I'm going to complain that I always need to escape hatch out, because as soon as you escape somewhere, now anytime anything touches that, it needs to also escape so it can touch it because it's outside. Like the more you can keep inside the ECS, the the more stuff you can keep inside the ECS, the better it works, I guess. Yeah, like some guy was asking like how to do something, and I was like, oh, well, you could just keep like a relationship thing that Bevy gives you that lets you like how hierarchies track, where it's like the parent points to the child and the child points to the parent. It's a doubly linked list. And I think like that's how you do it in the ECS, because it's a flat data structure. You have to make a doubly linked list like that. And they go like, oh no, but like the double linked lists are bad. I'm like, so like a bunch of pointers are any better? Like it's the same issue, except my doubly linked list I can jump in anywhere because I don't have to follow the list if I don't actually need the relationship. The linked list only exists in as much as the relationship exists between them, and I only ever use it when the relationship exists. But it feels bad to people, and then they like. I don't remember what the exact thing was, but they were basically just being like, oh, but I feel like you're just trying to use the ECS because it's there. And I'm like, no, I'm trying to use the ECS because you were just bitching about one thing. And I'm saying you'll fix that by doing this, because you're not escape hatching over there to then into escape hatch here. Like if you just didn't do that other thing, this wouldn't be a problem. But because you've done that other thing. They also complained about resources, which I find is like a very strange complaint to have. Because they were saying like it's ECS anti-component system, and they're like, oh, and I joke with my friends ECS and R for the resources. And I'm like, yeah, but the resources are just unique components. Like then nothing about resources are not ECS. Like I don't understand why people complain and have a gripe that resources aren't ECS, because like by all like they're the easiest thing of being like, but they are. They're just like a convenience abstraction of like, I don't want to have to make entity 0 my resource entity where I put my resource components, which is what Bevy is already trying to do under the hood at the moment. Like they're trying to migrate to doing that, because it means they don't have to maintain resource code and entity code or component code. It's like they're the same thing. It's just that you're flagging, like in the future, I'm assuming when you derive resource, you'll just derive component with unique or something, like similar to how they have immutable components now. It's like it'll be the same thing, as you'll have a like unique or multiple sort of thing, and it's like when you call it a resource, it's just a unique component, and that'll be how that works, because it's just still ECS. Things like events and observers, those I feel like are escaping ECS in the level of like it's ECS plus these extra things because Bevy found that it was really hard to do certain things with ECS. But resources, like from the beginning, I've never had anything of like resources don't feel like they fit. Resources are like strangely like fit really well as just a conceptual like like convenience function. And it's like everyone's like, oh, but where's the resources in the ECS architecture? Like, unique components. We flag the player for a reason. Like they're unique. But like we could also just do a resource. That would work just as well. You have a resource called player with a single entity pointing at which entity it is. Or we could just add a component. Like unique components aren't a rare thing. Yeah. How these things, like thank you for listening to my TED talk. The fucking memes. God, look at the time. I'm gonna have to wrap up soon. Hopefully I can get something fucking rendering before I... We get snakes. Let me see snake. You could grab the snake 0, and then get direction.
Did you have prior programming experience in another language before?
Yes, I had programmed in Unity before, but never like I think I made one game for a game jam, which actually no, that wasn't even Unity. It was a terminal game. I used ASCII art and everything because I could fucking. I'd done small things in Unity, but I never really liked Unity because I never like Unity and my brain don't get along because Unity's like one level too high. It's too opinionated in certain things. It doesn't let you touch other things, which is like I want to know how it works, and you can't read the code in Unity because it's like it's all pre-compiled for you. Because I think Unity itself is written in C, but then you actually or C++, and you actually like write your code in C#. So it's like you're actually writing completely different code to what Unity is doing as a game engine. And it's like in Bevy, if I don't understand something, I can literally just F12 my way until I eventually find where either Bevy is using it or they've literally written out how it's implemented. Like in 017 came out and they talked about, oh, you can make your own custom triggers for observers, which is like when an event fires, you can have like a piece of code that like catches that event and responds to it in a certain way, and you can change how it catches the event. Like some just catch every event, some only catch events that are targeted at a specific entity, that kind of thing. And like you can make your own. And then I went and tried to do it, and I was like, I can't work this shit out. So I was looking at how Bevy did it, and I went, oh, you can't do it because they accidentally left one of the APIs that you need access to private. So you can't actually increment the number that tells it that it's a new event, and so it just never works. You like without modifying the source code of Bevy, you can't do it. But I made an issue, and they're like, oh yeah, we'll fix that. But it was just weird that they had release like, yeah, you can do your own, but you probably shouldn't just choose ours because, you know, like this is like a really advanced technique, and it's like it's so advanced they never even tested to see if you could, because you hit private APIs really quickly. So like the Bevy developers can easily add them, but like other people can't. Okay, so if I'm doing that, I run this. I'm wondering if maybe that reversed window didn't actually reverse the iterator, and it did actually reverse the window. Because I can't explain the life of me. Okay. Well, it's following, it's just not the right spot. Okay. The fuck? It's also, it's like very much the wrong... Ironically, the segment's actually... It's just in the wrong orientation. So the head's working properly. Oh, well, no, because now it's facing the wrong way. So up works, down doesn't. Interesting. Left.
That's cool.
Down doesn't work. Why is down not working? I do need to wrap up. God damn it. Okay. Down. I assume because I'm supposed to be flipping the X. Anyway, just flip both. Okay. So that should fix down. We probably also stop printing out so much garbage. Now, what is going wrong with my segment? My assumption is that they all start facing the wrong way and then they move. So they're like a segment in the wrong direction. So actually, in theory, if I just set them back to starting at none except the head, because that should mean that the first one will start at, the head will start moving, then the body will follow the head, and the tail will follow the previous piece, which was set to none. So like the nuns should just stack until like there's no nuns left. They should like sort of fold out, I think. Okay. So I think what... Okay, interesting. So tail's wrong for some reason, but and the head's like one segment inside. It's interesting. I mean, technically they're following... No, they're not following the right place. Well, they are, it's just that... what the fuck is going on? Okay, I need to like, not move the piece when we spawn them in. So, I also say like segment should be in the snake, not... Yeah, let's cut this out. Transplant this up a layer, because technically the segment has nothing to do with the rendering, even though it kind of does do the controls the rendering. It's... Segment's also used as part of the snake, and then we don't... It's not super snake anymore. It's regular snake. Snake. So from there we go... So we get a facing direction. Okay, so I don't think we need to get the facing direction. Get rid of that. And then we don't multiply by facing direction, we just don't move. So the segment sets itself to the transform and just doesn't move. Which then means we need to come like down here and just say like, maybe stop spawning. Okay, so something about no snake segment in rendering. Okay. Segment in here. Okay, is that going to work now? Because I think that's what's happening, is that I was offsetting it by the direction that it was pointing, so it was in the right spot. And it's like, well, but now it doesn't move for one turn, so it ends up actually like a frame behind. Okay. Yay. It's distinctly wrong, but that's what happens when you let the AI do it. But it's like, at least it's doing what I want it to do now. So let's let's speed the game up like way more, like five frames per second, so that like we can more quickly see what the snake is fucking doing. So first off, we need to go down the tail, and I just don't think I'm actually updating the tail, which is kind of funny.
Hey.
Wait, no, 2 rotation. The tail 2 rotation.
It's cool seeing it like go from
Did you just point the wrong way?
not in line to slowly coming back to line.
Snares. Why is the tail doing that now? Oh, because I need to unflip it, don't I? I bet the tail's like flipped at some point.
So it's interesting. So prior, it's like you're attaching to like prior knowledge, just like experience from programming.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, it's that's what I'm saying. Like some of the questions you were asking, like when you were texting me, like, "Oh, can you teach me?" I was like, some of those questions was quite clearly like you don't know how to make games because you're asking questions like, "Can we do this in Bevy?" And I'm like, "Yes, as much as you could do that in any game engine, you can do that in Bevy. Like, there's nothing special about Bevy. The trick is about how hard it is to do it in certain game engines, and the thing with Bevy is it's a lot more low level, so anything can be done in Bevy, whereas something like RPG Maker is like there's a very limited number of things you can do simply because RPG Maker is not that strong. Like there's only so
So I'm guessing I'm trying to see, I guess, like a route where I can like start acquiring information quicker.
yeah.
It's like unless you're exposed to it in a way, you're not gonna really know what that thing does or how it does or why you would want to use it. And there's so much, I guess, features that it's easy to get overwhelmed or kind of like lost. Or I would say features that are kind of like not needed just yet until you are in that particular situation. Coupled with the fact that I probably don't have the strongest understanding when it comes to like just logical programming. So it's like the combination of these two things where not really like a Bevy issue, it might be just like a regular, I guess, programming.
Yeah, it's like that's what I was saying. Like when you're like writing the game design document of like, hey, like this is what's going to happen, like what we want. It was very much like that. Like you were like, oh, like we'll do this, and like it's like yeah, but it's like you like weirdly in between of this is the feature I want, and this is how I want to implement it. I'm looking at it going like, but like you haven't done either. Like of like this is the hard feature. Like we have to work out how to do this. Or this is how we're going to implement it, and we'll see how it turns out. It was this weird like we'll do something like this. And it's like, well, yeah, I think that's how it works. But, this evals block can be collapsed. But, okay. I don't know. But yeah, it's hard to explain. Like what I mean. It's like because it was like your lack of experience was really obvious in there. Like the way you were asking questions and then phrasing things and being like doing this is it's like there's no real reason you couldn't or could do such a thing. And yeah, so it's like you just need to like learn game development terminology. I hesitate to say learn patterns because like there's like a thing like you can buy books that like teach you game patterns and stuff like that. Like that's what they do. The issue I see with a lot of those books that teach you game patterns is that they're patterns for object-oriented programming, so they just won't work in Bevy very well. And it's you run into that issue like we're talking about. Like people have these, oh, this isn't working. How do I get around this? And it's like, well, how do you get around this? You don't use that pattern because that pattern doesn't work. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like it's so like I'm saying, like if you went and watched a bunch of like game dev stuff and stuff like that on YouTube, like you would pick up a lot more of like how you go about doing things. But it's about the reasoning you take. The issue is I feel like if you went and did that, you'd really learn a lot of patterns that you wouldn't really want to learn because they're not Bevy oriented patterns. You may be able to find a book because ECS is actually quite an old concept. It's just like I don't think computers were up to it until recently, where it's like it really takes quite a bit of memory to maintain the world. But once you get past like all the bookkeeping, everything starts working again. If that makes sense. Like it's like a large overhead, but then it's cheap once that overhead's paid. The like per the term for that I don't remember. The rate that it grows is slow, but the actual initial baseline is high. Like nuclear energy, it's expensive to build a power plant, but once the power plant is built, it's really cheap to run.
Right.
How the fuck do I? Oh. I think I need to use the direction shit's facing. The issue I have with using the direction is, yeah. The issue with using the way things are facing is that when I change the head, it'll fuck with the everything else because it won't know. So I don't. supposed to be wrapping this up. I really want to get this working. Rendering, not rendering. Yeah. Okay. Moving. So front minus back. Maybe it's back minus front. I need to print it somehow. Print line. Alright, just print direction. What it should print out when I'm heading to the right is front minus back, a bunch of negatives, which is probably actually the bottom of the problem, isn't it? Okay, so it's printing. They're not running in the same order. It's weird. 32, negative 30, 32, negative 30, 32, 32, negative 32, 32, 32. That's really interesting. Why are you the other way around? What? Which? Okay, maybe we print out. I feel like this is the fucking AI split something some way, like because it's called front and back. The AI is like going, oh, I'll fill that in for you, and has passed in them in the wrong order. So we pass in head, which is next, and we pass in tail, which is previous. Let's look at the code up here. Okay. They all start at 0, so that's fine. So then, yeah, so we're gonna go to 1. So the front at 0, 0, 0, the back is at 32, 0, 0. The distance is negative 32. You are at 64, so that's the back. Why are you even? You're even further back, which means it is definitely fucking putting him in the wrong order. Head, pre, transition, main, transition, next. Okay, window, 0, 1, 2. Okay, so pre-transition moving. So the first one that gets passed in is facing direction and then moving. So you print out. So you're the first piece moved in. So that's front. That's the previous, and then self, and then so you're negative 32. Okay. So that means you're 32 behind. Okay. And then front. Okay, so this is the next one. So this is passing in. Wait, what? Oh, because it calculates here. So that's main. So then this value goes to here. Wait, no, it still doesn't make any sense. Why the fuck is it not the same value twice? Okay. So this is the middle segment. And only the middle segment. Why is the tail segment still wrong? That's even... I guess the tail section is still doing its tail section shit. You don't think the tail section is calculating anything at all. So let's just stop the tail section from changing. The tail section will just print shit into the console and it'll annoy me. Why? Okay. So you're 32, 0, then you're 0. Wait, how do you from 0, 0? What? Previous? Which is actually... Wait, previous is 32, 0. And then you from 0, 0. But how does... How are you the same number twice? Oh, because it hasn't moved yet. Okay, let's go down here where it's actually moving. So you, and then you. So you're 32. And then you, and then you. And so you also put out 32. So it should be returning front. Hey, that doesn't make sense. Ah, okay. No, because it's fucking next.
Part of me wants to continue staying and seeing the conclusion of this, but
it's gonna conclude soon, and I need to go out, so I gotta fucking wrap it up.
I'm gonna have to call it there. But if you leave the recording, I'll probably see it when I get a chance after waking up tomorrow.
Moving. Alright, so it'd be pre, and then this. Yeah, okay.
Have a good night.
Yeah, alright. Oh, spooky. Alright, so what my issue was is that I was taking the previous and the next, and then the previous and the next. which was translating to well, no, taking the previous and self and then next, which would mean that like we were looking at the piece in front of it, the distance between the us and the piece in front, and the distance between the piece behind and us, which is not correct. Maybe, I don't know. Okay, so we'll wait until they start moving. So you return 32, negative 32. Well, actually, no, that seems right, because it would be forward. Okay, so no, it would be main, and then us, which is next. Right. Except next, in this particular situation, next is the third one. So, yeah, so that's the tail. So hence the tail, okay. So, what do you return? Can we print? I think it's purely just the ordering that I've got wrong. So if it returns like down, which is actually what it should return, then it's moving in a straight line. It should never return back forth, because the only way to get back forth is that you're crossing yourself. So it's returning down, which is just incorrect. Because what is it returning? Okay, so if the x is bigger than the y, and x is greater than 0, y is greater than 0. Okay, so now it's returning right, which is actually correct. And so then when we say rendering somewhere, I call something that you connection next. Okay, so when I'm just going to get rid of all of these now. I'm just going to say this is not a thing anymore. Okay, we're going to say that right returns a connection which doesn't flip anything and is straight. So does left. Okay. I want to turn the tail back on, but I also don't need to flood the fucking console with this shit. Actually, I could probably just go to where it's moving and turn that off, because I now know that that's working. This is, wait, this isn't even where it's printing it. Where the fuck am I printing? Is it connection new? No. Where was I? Oh, apparently nowhere. Okay. So, oh, spooky. Oh, it's fucking Discord kicking me out because I was sitting in a room alone. Okay. So we go back to rendering. We go back up to here and we go, okay. So we need to keep that so we can work out what segments are broken. We're going to turn the tail back on just to see if the tail's working, because in theory the tail should just work. Right, don't init. Right. Alright. So it's basically just as simple as mapping the last few, like the segments, the orientation of the segments, and that should just be it.
Yeah.
Okay, so for whatever reason, the tail is... Okay, well, you're still wrong. Well, that's because that's down. Alright, so the tail is just always pointing the wrong direction. Which is interesting, because it's pointing the right way and in the wrong direction. So... that's flip X, which rotates at 9 degrees. Okay. Right. So need to work out, so rotation. Why so tail to rotation? Are we doing head to rotation? Is that what the problem is that they were using the... Do I rotate the head? When? No. So I literally just take the rotation of the head, which means that to rotation probably needs to be the other way around. So we need to say that you're actually left, you're right, you're up, you're down, I think. So that should fix the tail, but my concern is that the tail is being moved twice, so we don't flip either. Okay. And then we just do that, and do this, and do this. Yeah, okay. So the tail is now following correctly. We just need to fix the okay. The left. So now we need to go like Control C. I mean, by left, and right. So we can probably just say that this is an or statement because left, and right should be the same segment, and then this would be up, up, and then we say up, or down, and then we say flip X. Okay, so then we don't flip X because we currently use flip X to determine if we rotate it. The rotation. Yeah, so we rotate it only if we flip X, which means that when, okay, so now you're correct. Except apparently, so up down works correctly. Except you should. I'm very confused about why that's not working. So we have the connection straight, and then image section, and clone and flip, and then that's our problem. Else, okay. So we need to either flip it or unflip it, which means I think because that's correct, we're going to say false, true. We need to rotate it because true, and then okay. Then up and down should work properly. Alright, so up and down now working. Okay. So okay. So it's not detecting the incorrect motion in like we haven't done corners yet, but like now the left and right are working. So now to do corners, we just need to go right, up, or up and to the right. Okay, so we need to say it's not straight and we don't flip anything, which is up to the right, which I think is the default one. We go not next. Okay, so up to the right. Okay. So then we want to say rendering. You know, right and down. So okay, so to the right, going to the right, down. Actually, I think that might be backwards. Then we may need to flip this along the Y. Actually, so we flip along the Y. That means it's false. Okay, and then we go flip this. And then say flip both. And then flip that. Maybe? Not sure. So that should work. And then obviously it'll break if you double back on yourself, but in theory that should always be the case because you shouldn't be allowed to double back on yourself. Actually, kidding. Just right. Okay. So it's so that one worked. Okay, so down's wrong. Oh, okay. So counterclockwise is wrong, which is interesting. Okay. So counterclockwise is wrong, which means it's like the second set is wrong. What's that? The right up was wrong. Right up. Okay, so right up probably needs to be flipped with down, like this. I reckon it's going to be that. So right down. So to the right and down. It's the same as up and to the right. Okay, and then right and. And then I would assume it's this and this are also flipped. I'm just going off the fact that right and up was the last one I did, which was means that right up was the one that was wrong. So we go up. Okay, so up is wrong. That's wrong. That's wrong. Okay, so we've like completely broken it, and then go that way. Going clockwise is broken, and going counterclockwise is broken, which means that now we just need to flip this. So we say right down. So this is then false, and then this is true, and then this is false. False. Wait, no. This becomes true, false, and this becomes true. Right, because we're flipping them, not flipping the sign. So you're false. Yeah, okay. Goddamn work. Okay. Nope. Okay. So that one. So left up. Left and up. So left up is wrong. What should it be? It should be flipped with whatever the reciprocal of it was. God damn it. Okay. So left up apparently. Left and up. Flip, flip. Alright, I don't get why left. Why does it left up not work? Left up. The left up must be this flipped with right up. It's facing like the complete opposite direction. So it would be left up, which means it's right down. It should be like this one. Ah, damn it. Okay, X and V, and then I guess cut U and paste U, and then we just need to save and then run that and go, okay. So that, at this point, we're just tracking down specifically which ones are broken. There's a pattern to it, but I can't mentally map the pattern at the moment, which is annoying. So that's broken, that's broken, broken, that's broken. Okay, so we did like the complete wrong two, which is ironic. So, not true. Which means, I don't actually know. What does that mean? So it wasn't left up, which means it was probably oh, are they mirrored? Am I passing them in the right order? Head, tail. Okay. Head. Tail. Alright. That's not really gonna help. Anyway. Alright, so annoyingly, I'm like, I know you're correct, I know you're correct. But it's possible also that it's getting fucked up by the fact that like we're not setting something correctly here. So you don't set it right. It could also be this. So S dot flip. No. No. You just equal false. S dot flip Y. Flip X. Yes, false. Right, because if it's straight, we want no flipping. Because that could be what's going wrong. No, because you would think that because this passes out the right flipping, it should flip it correctly anyway. Okay, so what is your problem? Is that you're pointing, so you're heading, head was up, that was up, left. Up left is wrong. Up left is pointing at the wrong place. Up, left. You point at the wrong place. You should point at false, false. Which probably means that it's up and right. Also in the wrong spot. Because you should point like that. Okay. That should fix that. So we go up, nope. Nope. Okay. Nope. Anyway, I have to go. So I'll fix that either tomorrow or whatever. But I think the best way is probably to split them all out individually and then like just individually go through and like work out exactly which one is supposed to point where, because I'm getting thrown by the fact that like every time I tweak one, it's like it's not changing how I expect it to change. But anyway, thank you for tuning in the stream, and I will see you all next time. I do have to run.